What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
10 MP. Chapter 201. Recall Hiroko Shinji. Ichigo's thoughts. Advertise here. Here, do you take a break or talk about things first? Qian Ye was very straightforward. Oh, by the way, Captain Qian Ye. This is Mr. Unohana Kazuki, let me bring you. Kurosaki Ichigo was talking, but he took out a large wooden box and handed it to Qian Ye. Oh, Unohana Kazuki asked you to give it to me. What is it? Qian Ye also took the wooden box from Kurosaki Ichigo, while holding it a little curiously authentic. In fact, Qian Ye didn't even know that Unohana Kazuki asked Kurosaki Ichigo to bring him the righteous soul pill he asked Unohana Kazuki. And Unohana Kazuki, of course, is also here. However, Unohana Kazuki quietly left. Because Unohana Kazuki was seeing Kurosaki Ichigo, they have been taken over by Matsumoto Rangaku to the base of the masked army. He didn't show up, and didn't enter the base of the masked legion. Of course, the scene where Unohana Kazuki quietly left was the enchantment that Qian Ye passed through, and Hachigan was able to see it clearly. It's just that Qian Ye didn't have the meaning and interest to stop him. Because he didn't want to have too much intersection with Unohana Kazuki. Qian Ye is naturally clear about Unohana Kazuki's selfishness. It's just that everyone's interests are not in conflict, and it is not guilty to provoke them. However, what surprised Qian Ye was that Unohana Kazuki seemed to have planned it a long time ago. No wonder, when he saw Kurosaki Ichigo and the others, they had entered the base and left quietly. Qian Ye thought for a while, but also immediately understood. This Unohana Kazuki really deserves to be a businessman. With just a few righteous soul pills, he can give tricks. Isn't this obvious? Kurosaki Ichigo gave him the thing, and it was Kurosaki Ichigo's meeting with them. And this thing was produced by Unohana Kazuki, and he brought it to Kurosaki Ichigo. In other words, his Unohana Kazuki also fulfilled his promise. A profiteer. This shows that he is a profiteer. Qian Ye also shook his head helplessly, and placed the wooden box containing the Yihan on the stone table beside him. Since Qian Ye knew that the wooden box contained Yihan pills, he would naturally not open it. It's still important to get things right. Both Kurosaki Ichigo and the others have also come to the base of the Masked Legion. Those responsible for hollow training Kurosaki Ichigo, Hiroko Shinji, should also be called back. Therefore, Qian Ye ignored Kurosaki Ichigo and the others, but gave orders to Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, the two deputy captains. Matsumoto Rangaku, Torichi Kuriyoshi, you two are out of the base now. You two are responsible for cleaning up the emptiness that appeared in the western half of Karakura town. Yes, Deputy Captain. Deputy Captain Katetsu Aizen and I, here is going. You can rest assured to deal with your important matters. Leave the inferior virtual ones to us. Matsumoto Rangaku said, pulling Katetsu Aizen on the side and about to leave. But at this moment, Qian Ye quickly said again, Matsumoto Rangaku, you guys wait first, my work hasn't been arranged yet. What? After Matsumoto Rangaku screamed, he asked again, Captain, what work do you have to order? Isn't it killing the virtual and guarding the western half of Karakura town? Matsumoto Rangaku, if you two are going out this time, you have to change the three of Hiroko Shinji, Yadomaru Lisa, and Hachigan back to the base camp. Qian Ye also had to speak directly. Oh, I see. Look, forgotten me, Kurosaki Ichigo, don't they just need Hiroko Shinji to come back? Matsumoto Rangaku took a look, and Kurosaki Ichigo said again. Matsumoto Rangaku, Tiger Toriyoshiyuki, I'm afraid it won't be too easy for you two to guard the task next. You two may be careless and careful to sail the Wanian ship. Qian Ye reminded. Road. Captain Qian Ye, don't worry, Deputy Captain Matsumoto Rangaku and I will do our best to protect the western half of Karakura town. Katetsu Aizen said here, after a while and then said, besides, don't we still have the other 5 members of the Masked Legion? They are all the strength of the Deputy Captain team. Indeed, except for Hiroko Shinji and the 3 who came back. The Masked Legion stayed outside the base, guarding the western half of Karakura town. But there are still 3 captains and 2 deputy captains. Relying on the fighting power outside, there are 3 captains and 5 or 4 deputy captains. This is better than that, the original captain and 2 deputy captains asked the guardian power. Not to mention the strength of the combat power, there are too many people now. Most of them are more than half of the original Qian Ye's time. Well, the work of guarding Karakura town next will be the responsibility of you two for the time being. I hope you two will take the other 5 members of the Masked Legion to take care of the safety of the entire western half. Qian Ye had no choice but to be so authentic, because anyway, he had to arrange Kurosaki Ichigo and the others first, and then he could go out and clean up those imaginary ones. Yes, Captain Qian Ye. Katetsu Aizen and I, go now. Matsumoto Rangaku finished speaking and walked out with Katetsu Aizen. Go. Let everyone be careful too, don't be too aggressive. If you can't handle it, call a foreign aid in time. Qian Ye also reminded and exhorted the second daughter who had already walked out. Others are afraid that they don't know, but Qian Ye does. In Karakura town now, not only will there be more and more voids, but also more and more powerful. Now it is still inferior, and gradually it will be medium, superior, Manos Grande, imitating Arankar, and blade to the former Espada. After Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, the two deputy captains, went to Kiwai, replaced the three of Hiroko Shinji, and took charge of the guard mission of Karakura town in the western half. Qian Ye called Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Yulong, Sato Yasutora, and Inoue Li Jiaohao Orihime again and stood together. Captain Qian Ye, whatever order you have, just say it, we will obey you absolutely. Kurosaki Ichigo said very directly and seriously when he came over. The four Kurosaki Ichigo, of course, also know that the Qian Ye captain must also make specific arrangements with them. Of course, Qian Ye's so-called arrangement is naturally about how to intensively train them. As for what Qian Ye asked Urahara Kazuki, Kurosaki Ichigo also knew all about it. When Urahara Kazuki found them, Urahara Kazuki was already there, and they told them one by one, Kurosaki Ichigo and the others were four. These requirements of Qian Ye are for Kurosaki Ichigo and the four of them. Not only is it not unacceptable, but it is exactly what they dream of. What is this called? It coincides with each other. Chapter 202, Qian Ye's Reminder. I don't need waste. Advertise here. The four of them at Kurosaki Ichigo heard Qian Ye's request. Not only did I not feel any disgust or resistance, but I was also very happy. Because this Qian Ye captain is not only powerful, but also someone they can trust. It can be said that Qian Ye is now their idol. Among them, Kurosaki Ichigo and Inoue Orihime are especially obsessed. Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Yuryu, Sato Yasutora, Inoue Orihime, you four, you must also know the purpose, I asked you to come here. Qian Ye also asked very directly. Captain Qian Ye, we all know, because Mr. Urahara Kazuki also told us all. We are very willing to join Captain Qian Ye, your team. Kurosaki Ichigo is very direct and serious. Captain Qian Ye, the four of us, not only want to follow you, but also feel very happy and lucky. Being able to follow you is also the biggest dream of the four of us. Inoue Orihime was a little obsessed with authenticity. And at this time, Sato Yasutora also said quickly, Captain Qian Ye. We know that you have also come to this world. Originally, I wanted to see you, but everyone was busy killing the virtual, so I was delayed. Sha 573 crossed over to Yasutora after a pause, and then continued, and we are also thinking, to ask Captain Qian Ye to teach us, how can we strengthen our strength? Ishida Yulong saw Kurosaki Ichigo, Sato Yasutora, and Inoue Orihime all expressed their views, and they were also anxious and very direct and authentic. Captain Qian Ye, we wanted to follow you a long time ago, and we are all thinking, if you were to take charge of our eastern half, it would be nice. What we said was all sincere. Because you are good to us, that's why it's really good. You are admired by the group of four. Get event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. Well, since the four of you have all said so, right? Then I won't say anything else. I agree and approve the four of you to officially join my team. However, before Kurosaki Ichigo and the four of them could speak, Qian Ye's talk changed. But well. Your next intensive training is very hard and boring. Captain Qian Ye, don't worry. Since we are here, we are ready for everything. Kurosaki Ichigo interjected. Kurosaki Ichigo smiled and then continued. CDEJ, that's good, then it's up to your performance. I only hope that you can persevere. Persistence is victory. We will. Kurosaki Ichigo is very firm and confident. Everyone, don't let me down. However, I still want to remind you that my team does not need waste, and I don't want you to be waste. Qian Ye was very serious when several people were full of confidence, and reminded directly. Such a straightforward reminder from Qian Ye also made Kurosaki Ichigo a little uncomfortable. Of course, the four Kurosaki Ichigo also strengthened their confidence in his decision. Persevere. Yes, persistence is victory. We will definitely stick to it, and will not become a real waste. However, at this time, Qian Ye asked again and went to Orihime. Inoue Orihime, as for you, I still plan to let you go to Soul Society. However, even before Qian Ye's words were finished, Inoue Orihime was a little anxious. Captain Qian Ye, just let me stay. I will do it, and I will never disappoint you, let alone become a waste. Besides, what if someone is injured here? Inoue Orihime, listen to me first. Just as you said, we need you for the future rescue work here. Qian Ye said this, but looked at Inoue Orihime and said, so. You have to go to Soul Society, where there are Sister Wa and Rukia Kuchiki, they can really help you and become stronger. But me, Inoue Orihime, don't be the same. You have to know that only if you become stronger can you help others more and better. Here, in Karakura town, you will still be waiting for you to guard. Qian Ye also grabbed the words. When Qian Ye said this, he smiled and then continued. Inoue Zimu, in fact, you follow Sister Wa, and you are the same as following me. Only one is in Soul Society and the other is in Karakura town in this world. Captain Qian Ye, after I strengthened myself in Soul Society, I am still willing to come back and follow you. Because this is where I belong, and I am not Shinigami after all. At this point, Inoue Orihime looked at Qian Ye apologetically and said, Captain Qian Ye. I'm sorry, I am not very good at talking, nor do I mean that I can't look down on Shinigami. You know, Captain Qian Ye. You are the idol most worshipped by the four of us. Well, then, at that time, everything is as you wish. You come back to join my team, of course I agree and welcome. Qian Ye had no choice but to be so authentic. You successfully let the group of 4 join your team. Get the event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. Of course, according to Qian Ye's true thoughts, he hopes, whether it is to join Orihime or Rukia Kuchiki. Qian Ye hopes that both of them, it is best to stay in Soul Society forever, and it is best not to leave Soul Society for half a step. This specific reason is of course related to Hueco Mundo, Aizen, and even the decisive battle in the future. Of course, Qian Ye would naturally not say these things clearly. For Qian Ye, Shuai didn't care about the specifics. Soldiers come to block, water comes and soil floods. Everything goes with the flow. However, the conversation between Qian Ye and Inoue Orihime just came to an end. Kurosaki Ichigo said to Qian Ye again, Captain Qian Ye. Don't worry, after Inoue Orihime went to Soul Society, the 3 of us must also train desperately and work hard to strengthen our strength. Yes, Kurosaki Ichigo is right. What we need is training to strengthen our strength, what we need is to improve our strength. At this moment, Sato Yasutora also attached to the Tao. And Ishida Yulong also joined the excitement. Only when we become stronger and stronger, can we better protect the safety of Soramaki Castle. We will definitely stick to it, unite Isshin, and unite our will. We will never make waste. 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 Not only Kurosaki Ichigo and Sato Yasutora, they joined together very firmly and earnestly. Even Inoue Orihime said very firmly in the same way. Chapter 203. Hiroko Shinji returns. Final Ichigo training. Advertise here. Okay, I believe in you, and I am waiting for you. At the same time, I also hope that what you show me is not a waste of you. When Qian Ye said this, he said to the 4 people again, well, you all go take a rest first, and prepare for yourself at the same time. We will wait for Hiroko Shinji and the others to come back, and they will officially start tomorrow to conduct intensive training for you. In the afternoon, Hiroko Shinji was also as expected, bringing Lisa and Fatty Uncle, because Akita Hakugen's nickname is Shaoba, and returned to Qian Ye's base camp. However, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Azane both found and notified Hiroko Shinji. I just told Hiroko Shinji that it was Captain Qian Ye and asked him to take Lisa and Shaoba back to the base camp. However, Matsumoto and the second daughter of Katetsu Azane did not tell Hiroko Shinji the reason why Qian Ye would let him take Lisa and Shaoba back. This is what happened. When Hiroko Shinji saw Qian Ye, he asked directly. Our Captain Qian Ye, if you call us back, it won't be for us to come back, let's take a holiday. However, Qian Ye was watching. Hiroko Shinji smiled and said, Hiroko Shinji, you guess. Does this still need to be guessed? You should also have other tasks that urgently need the 3 of us to come back to complete. Hiroko Shinji was straightforward, and after speaking, he showed his weird smile. Of course Hiroko Shinji is too big to guess it. Leaving aside, Qian Ye would not have been so kind. And Qian Ye asked them to come back. This 3-person lineup can know everything. This is not Shinji, who is too careless, nor is he too cautious. But now because of the external form, it is really very serious. Those emptiness, not only are no longer inferior imaginary, but also more and more, stronger and stronger formations are coming. There is a lot of energy to kill and destroy. At this moment, Kurosaki Ichigo walked out of the back room. Kurosaki Ichigo felt a little embarrassed when he saw Hiroko Shinji and others, as if it was difficult to face Hiroko Shinji. After all, he refused at first, Hiroko Shinji's invitation. However, I have not waited for Kurosaki Ichigo to figure out how to face Hiroko Shinji. Hiroko Shinji asked Kurosaki Ichigo deliberately. Kurosaki Ichigo, why are you here? Shouldn't you be guarding the eastern half? Of course Qian Ye knew that Hiroko Shinji did it deliberately. He was deliberately pretending to be surprised, and he didn't want to repeat the old things. So Qian Ye came and said straightforwardly, Hiroko Shinji. Kurosaki Ichigo, you are all on the same team now. Come, let's meet again. Kurosaki Ichigo, this is great too. Welcome. Welcome to join our team, then we will be a teammate in the future. Hiroko Shinji smiled. However, Hiroko Shinji also deliberately did not say that it is Qian Ye's team, but said that it is our team. Obviously, Hiroko Shinji still can't let go. Kurosaki Ichigo refused. Yeah, Hiroko Shinji. From now on, we will all be members of Qian Ye's captain's team, and we are really destined. And Kurosaki Ichigo, obviously not stupid, but a bit contended. It is to change the team from Hiroko Shinji to Qian Ye's team. Seeing this, Qian Ye naturally wouldn't say anything wrong. He just laughed and said to Hiroko Shinji, I don't think I need to say more about the next thing. Captain Qian Ye, don't worry, isn't it about helping Kurosaki Ichigo hollow? Just leave this task to us. Hiroko Shinji also said directly. Don't tell me, this Hiroko Shinji is really going to be the first to win. Let's talk about everything first. That's good, I also believe that you, Hiroko Shinji, are a person who can do what he says. Qian Ye was a little bit sideways. Of course, we and Kurosaki Ichigo, since we are all on the same team. To help Kurosaki Ichigo is to help our team. When Hiroko Shinji said this, he smiled and said again, we helped Kurosaki Ichigo and mastered Hollow, which is tantamount to improving the combat power of our team. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo also answered, Hiroko Shinji. Thank you, Kurosaki Ichigo, thank you from all my heart. For flowers. Hi, Kurosaki Ichigo, I'm all a team member, so I can't thank you. Besides, we will have to fight together in the future. I don't want you to be our burden. Hiroko Shinji was a little honest. Hiroko Shinji, don't worry, I will work hard, I will definitely not be a waste. I want you to be able to safely put your backs in my protection during the battle. Kurosaki Ichigo also said very seriously. But at this time, Hiroko Shinji was very serious, and directly made a small request to Qian Ye. Captain Qian Ye, if you want Kurosaki Ichigo to quickly grasp his own hollow, I am afraid that there is only the three of us, and it is still a little powerless. Hiroko Shinji, I know this naturally. Don't worry, I arranged it myself. At this time, Hiroko Shinji said again, Captain Qian Ye. You won't let us, just start the station now. Of course not, you have to let all of you come to recharge tonight. Qian Ye said. Captain Qian Ye, it's really not that I'm a member of the committee, and it's not that I have any dislikes. It's that we are really tired. Hiroko Shinji also said hastily. I know this. Besides, it's not in a rush. Qian Ye also said. When Qian Ye said this, he smiled to Hiroko Shinji and said, Hiroko Shinji, then you all have a rest. Tomorrow, we will officially start. You successfully allowed Hiroko Shinji to receive hollow training to help Kurosaki Ichigo. Receive event reward. Spiritual power plus 2-0. However, Hiroko Shinji didn't, and was anxious to take a rest. Instead, he said to Qian Ye, Captain Qian Ye. Those imaginary outside, I'm afraid it is also a little troublesome. I know this, don't worry. I'm making arrangements for everything here, and I will take care of it. Qian Ye said as he gave Hiroko Shinji back with a relieved look. However, it was when Hiroko Shinji was really ready to take a break. But Sato Yasutora, Ishida Ryu, and Inoue Orihime also walked out of the back room. As this, Hiroko Shinji pointed to the three of them and asked Qian Ye. Where? Chapter 204. All this is due to Qian Ye. Advertise here. Hiroko Shinji saw Sato Yasutora, Ishida Ryu, and Inoue Orihime again. Although he was a little surprised, he was very clear in his heart. Because Hiroko Shinji knew it at the beginning, he must protect Karakura town in this world. In addition to Soul Society, Shinigami who was sent this time, Kurosaki Ichigo and others are also indispensable. Even Kurosaki Ichigo and the others are the main forces guarding Karakura town. But now, the current Kurosaki Ichigo few people are obviously still a little worse. This is also very clear, Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yulong, and Orihime are all rushing to strengthen their strength. However, Hiroko Shinji also knows that to help Kurosaki Ichigo hollow, they are in the business. But if it is strengthened, Sato Tai, 573, Tiger, Ishida Ryu, Inoue Orihime 3 people, then Hiroko Shinji and others can only be called amateurs. Of course, Hiroko Shinji didn't want to, and then took over to help the three of them strengthen their strength training. Besides, the hollow training of Kurosaki Ichigo is enough for Hiroko Shinji and the others to drink a pot. However, it was in Hiroko Shinji. Feeling a little surprised, and thinking about these moments. Qian Ye smiled and said, Hiroko Shinji. You don't have to show it, this lovely expression is here. But why did they come to our base camp? Hiroko Shinji asked deliberately. Oh, what you said. Because Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora, as well as Inoue Orihime, have joined our team, and we will all be members of the same team in the future. Qian Ye said to Hiroko Shinji. Of course Qian Ye knew that, in fact, Hiroko Shinji was also pretending to be confused. Captain Qian Ye, I didn't mean that, Hiroko Shinji wanted to explain again. Hiroko Shinji, don't worry. These 3 people are not the dishes I left for you. Qian Ye was very straightforward again. Cut. As if I was going to grab you. Hiroko Shinji smiled. How about I give them to you for free? Qian Ye also smiled. Don't. I can't afford to enjoy it anymore, I'm afraid I will be exhausted, or I will be crushed to death. Hiroko Shinji said quickly. Hiroko Shinji, is there such an exaggeration? Isn't it just to strengthen their strength? This is not going to be life-threatening. It is better than the battlefield. Qian Ye smiled again. Captain Qian Ye, seriously, I would rather go to the battlefield. Besides, you are the captain of our team, so you have to do something. Hiroko Shinji also said. It seems to be the same, then find something to strengthen them personally, so that no one might have an opinion. Qian Ye smiled again. Captain Qian Ye, don't worry too, Kurosaki Ichigo will be handed over to us, and we are guaranteed to let him completely master Hollow. Hiroko Shinji said this, but again, but it. After Hiroko Shinji was not good enough, there was no more text, but Qian Ye showed up again, his weird smile. But what? Come on, I don't want to see you smiling the most. Do you want me to have nightmares at night? Qian Ye was a little bit of his own, and cooperated with Hiroko Shinji authentically. Captain Qian Ye, however, at the final critical moment of Kurosaki Ichigo, hollow. I am afraid that you, our great and shrewd captain, will become the leader. Hiroko Shinji finally said his purpose again. You successfully allowed Hiroko Shinji to receive training on Kurosaki Ichigo. Receive event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo was also very serious, and sincerely bowed to the three of Hiroko Shinji and Qian Ye very sincerely. And said, My hollow training, I have worked hard for you, for your hard work, I thank you first. Hi, Kurosaki Ichigo, what are you doing? Are you sour? Everyone will be a team in the future, so why not thank you? If you are not sour, I will die of sourness. Although Hiroko Shinji deserves it, he still has to say something polite. However, Hiroko Shinji only paused for a while and then said, but well. Kurosaki Ichigo, the key to success or failure depends on you. At this time, Qian Ye also answered, Kurosaki Ichigo. What Hiroko Shinji said is true, you have to stick to it. It's not just about insisting on being so simple, but it's about your life and death. Hiroko Shinji said again. Kurosaki Ichigo, you must hold on, and succeed in hollow, otherwise you will become a real imaginary, and we naturally won't let the imaginary get out of us alive. Qian Ye has the meaning of words in this life, but it is very clear. If Kurosaki Ichigo can't hold on, it becomes a real void. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo will have only one fate, death. Captain Qian Ye, Hiroko Shinji, don't worry. Kurosaki Ichigo said here, and said more firmly, I will not be afraid of hardship or suffering. I will definitely persist until the end. In the end, it is only me who wins, not the real illusion. Kurosaki Ichigo said here, after a while, he said, because I can't die, I want to protect Karakura Town, and I will be your teammate. You successfully let Kurosaki Ichigo receive hollow training and arouse fighting spirit. Get event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. It is precisely because of that, Kurosaki Ichigo's determination, fearlessness, and responsibility. Only then will Qian Ye, Hiroko Shinji, and Urahara Kazuki and Yoruichi pay attention to him, value him, and be determined to help him. Hiroko Shinji at this time, after listening to Kurosaki Ichigo, there was some emotion, some admiration, and even a little speechless. The current Hiroko Shinji was the only one who showed his weird smile. Hiroko Shinji also completely did not expect that he and Kurosaki Ichigo would become partners of a team in this situation. 4.9. Is it because of this Qian Ye? Or good luck? You know, Hiroko Shinji really wanted Kurosaki Ichigo to join the masked army. But he resolutely refused. Because Kurosaki Ichigo thinks that Hiroko Shinji's visored, and the so-called imaginary, are both present and enemies of Karakura Town. In fact, this is not a good fortune, nor is it God's will. And it is indeed because of people. Obviously, all of this is due to the emergence of Qian Ye. Qian Ye is both the cause and the result. Whether it's Vizard's Hiroko Shinji or Kurosaki Ichigo, it's all because of Qian Ye, and they eventually joined Qian Ye's team. Chapter 205. Qian Ye gives an order. Intensive training begins. Advertise here. Compared to Hiroko's really speechless, and Kurosaki Ichigo at this time, why not be so? Kurosaki Ichigo was very speechless. Of course, he and Hiroko Shinji finally became a team. This is not just a team matter, because he has to accept Hiroko Shinji and the others to help him carry out Hollow's intensive training. This is what Kurosaki Ichigo has always needed. It is also the condition that Hiroko Shinji put forward to allow Kurosaki Ichigo to join, Vizard. Although they all belong to Qian Ye's team now, their substance is still somewhat similar, and their purpose is the same. In the end, they were still each other, they all came together, and they fought side by side. What makes Kurosaki Ichigo feel at ease is their common purpose and common responsibility. It is also for the stability of this world and for the protection of Karakura Town. And just when Hiroko Shinji and Kurosaki Ichigo both sighed in their hearts, Qian Ye seemed to know everything, and said to the two with a smile. Okay, I said Hiroko Shinji and Kurosaki Ichigo, you two are not there, and each other's emotions. Qian Ye saw Kurosaki 23 guard and Hiroko Shinji, but still ignored him and stepped on him, so he urged loudly again. Hiroko Shinji, Kurosaki Ichigo, you guys should hurry up and take a rest. The intensive training will start tomorrow. But when everyone was about to leave to rest, they heard the words reminded by Qian Ye. I can remind you that no matter who you are then, there should be no complaints and no slack. Once there is a mistake, no matter who you are, don't blame me and be unsympathetic. For Hiroko Shinji and the others, they are already a bit accustomed. Of course, for the Kurosaki Ichigo 3 people, they are also a little bit strange, and they are also a little bit accustomed. You have completed the task assignment. Get the event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. On the second day, the sky was dimly bright, but Qian Ye's voice was there, and the whole base camp rang thoroughly and came thunderously. Are you all lazy pigs? The sun is scorching your ass, so you don't want to leave soon. Do you have to wait for me to do it myself? The people in the room heard Qian Ye's yelling, and their backs became cold, and they quickly got ready. And just when they were all busy and preparing, Qian Ye's voice came again. Intensive training officially started. Everyone is listening. If anyone procrastinates, be careful. If I am upset, I will beat you all into fat pigs. As soon as Qian Ye's words fell, everyone in the room shivered involuntarily. Everyone also knows that their captain Qian Ye, although not a big demon, is even more terrifying than the real big demon. What Qian Ye said, everyone is the same, and there is no doubt at all. Because Qian Ye is definitely a master who can tell and do. Just as Qian Ye's voice just fell, I saw people flying out of every room. And there are 4 figures, even more quickly and directly, rushing to the valley behind the base camp. Needless to say, because the valley behind the base camp is the main training ground, this was originally the training ground of the Masked Legion base. At the same time, Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora, as well as Inoue Orihime, also appeared in front of Qian Ye at the same time. Hello Captain Qian Ye, we are reporting. Sato Yasutora represented 3 people, saying hello to Qian Ye and reporting. You all come with me. After Qian Ye finished speaking, he also ran towards a valley. However, the direction Qian Ye was going was exactly the opposite of the direction Hiroko Shinji and the others were going. In this base camp, there are valleys on all sides, which are also good places for training. It's really a good base for all kinds of training. Qian Ye brought Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yulong, and Inoue Orihime to the rock behind this valley. First, he said to Sato Yasutora and Ishida Ryu, you two, the next training ground is here. Okay, Captain Qian Ye. Before Sato Yasutora had finished speaking, Qian Ye said very seriously, you remember, you must be every day. The sky just rises dimly, and you can only close your hands without seeing your thumbs. If you want to be strong, you have to work your mind and your muscles and bones. At this time, Inoue Orihime was a little anxious, interrupted Qian Ye and asked, Captain Qian Ye. What about me? As Inoue Orihime, you rest first. Qian Ye said that. After stopping, he talked to Inoue Orihime again. Inoue Orihime, how about yours? First go find a quiet place, then sit down and think clearly. The most important thing for you is not what to do. It's, how do you want to do it? After you think it through, come to me again. Quote. Oh, shallow Inoue Orihime replied lightly, then thoughtfully went to find a place, thinking about going. After Inoue Orihime left, Qian Ye said to Sato Yasutora again, Sato Yasutora. What you want is not only power, but with power, you must also have speed and response. With speed, you must have speed, violence, and explosive power. You not only know how to erupt, but you have to erupt every time, and you have to explode exponentially, or even explode several times 573. In terms of speed, the same is true. You must not only run fast, hide fast, attack fast, but also react fast. What you have to keep in mind is power, speed, reaction, burst, burst again, double, double again. Quote. After Qian Ye finished speaking to Sato Yasutora, he said to Ishida Yulong again, Ishida Yulong. Although you are a Quincy, what I asked Sato Yasutora just now is also suitable for you. Okay, I understand, I will train as required. Ishida Yulong responded quickly. However, Qian Ye went on to say, in addition to doing this, you have to grow and be mindful. Not only to be long-hearted, but also to be mindful, attentive, forgetful, and cruel. In addition to the heart, you have to use your brain, ears, eyes, nose, hands, and feet. Of course, although this is easy to say, it is very difficult to do. It's useless for me to say more, the most important thing is to rely on yourself. And you, if you want to truly strengthen yourself, become a powerful Quincy. Then you have to do this, and surpass what I have, or even surpass these. Quote. When Qian Ye said this, Ishida Yulong said again, don't worry. Captain Qian Ye, I will definitely do it. Because I want to become a real Quincy. Chapter 206. Qian Ye's preaching. Ichigo strengthening begins. Qian Ye said to Shitian Yulong again, because you are a Quincy, then I have to mention some important points about the Quincy. Therefore, Qian Ye talked to Ishida Yulong about the various skills of the Quincy. As a quintessence, it is by assimilation of souls. And what about after the spirit child is absorbed? That of course is to use your spirit bow for a long-range attack. Here, it is worth noting that your attack speed. This speed is not only fast, but also fierce. Be as fast as lightning and precise. Of course, your own speed must also be kept up. When Qian Ye said this, he also stopped and asked Shitian Yulong, you should be able to understand what I said. Captain Qian Ye, I can hear you clearly, but the understanding is thorough. Ishida Yulong also said truthfully. So, does this require you to carry out intensive training? Otherwise, you will neither need to strengthen nor train anymore. Qian Ye said with a smile. Hey, Captain Qian Ye, that's true too, Shitian Yulong also said with a smirk. Ishida Yulong, it doesn't matter if you are not thorough, as long as you work tirelessly and persevere in training. You will finally understand it thoroughly. By then, you will be a super Quincener. Come on, Ishida Yulong, I am optimistic about you, and I am waiting for your day. Quote. Qian Ye also added oil to Shishin Yulong, so he became angry. Also, is it a human being? You can't just trample on and beat them blindly, you have to give him courage and confidence to succeed. After Qian Ye had finished talking with Ishida Yulong, he was very serious about Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora. Ishida Yuryu, Sato Yasutora, let's do it, you two should practice together. Captain Qian Ye, no, are you saying that we two practice right? Ishida Yulong is just a Quincy. Sato Yasutora was somewhat opposed. Sato Yasutora, don't look down on people. It's not known whether you are my opponent or not. Ishida Yulong was also a little unconvinced. Seeing this, Qian Ye didn't stop drinking or criticizing. Because what Qian Ye wants is such two people. In the next intensive training, what Qian Ye wants to use is their unyielding spirit. As long as Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora have always had this spirit. I'm not afraid that the two of them won't fight. It's the same, it's difficult for the two of them not to want to become stronger. Therefore, Qian Ye said again, Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yulong, the reason why I want you to fight against each other. I want you to be better able to learn from each other's strengths, and to achieve actual combat effects. Captain Qian Ye, I know, I will definitely not lose to Ishida Yulong. I am the strongest, Sato Yasutora said. Ishida Yulong, Sato Yasutora, you two can remember for me, here, it is both a training ground and a battlefield. I don't care what the relationship between you two is, and I don't care about the two people's thoughts, I just want the result belongs to the strong. Quote. Qian Ye was also very serious, talking to both Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora. Captain Qian Ye, take your heart, Sato Yasutora and I are friends and brothers at ordinary times. And here, we are enemies who hate each other. Ishida Yulong also said very directly. After Qian Ye listened to what Sato Yasutora and Ishida Yulong had said, he started talking again. Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yuryu, you two have indeed been friends since the beginning of training, but enemies. Either you give birth or I die. Today's training, you treat it as a trifle, afraid of sweating, afraid of bleeding. In the coming days on the battlefield, what you will give and lose will not be your blood, but your life. Quote. Next, Qian Ye called Sato Yasutora and Ishida Yulong together. So I explained to the two of their respective advantages and disadvantages, as well as the matters they should pay special attention to during training. Then, they conducted a competing training program for the two. Regarding this training program, Qian Ye was also very patient, explaining and demonstrating to the two of them. Finally, Qian Ye also put forward their respective requirements, goals, methods and ultimate goals, as well as the desired results to the two. Qian Ye was also very serious, talking to both Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora. Captain Qian Ye, take your heart, Sato Yasutora and I are friends and brothers at ordinary times. And here, we are enemies who hate each other. Ishida Yulong also said very directly. After Qian Ye listened to what Sato Yasutora and Ishida Yulong had said, he started talking again. Sato Yasutora, Ishida Ryu, you two have indeed been friends, but enemies, from the beginning of training. Either you give birth or I die. Today's training, you treat it as a trifle, afraid of sweating, afraid of bleeding. In the coming days on the battlefield, what you will give and lose will not be your blood, but your life. Quote. Next, Qian Ye called Sato Yasutora and Ishida Yulong together. So I explained to the two of their respective advantages and disadvantages, as well as the matters they should pay special attention to during training. Then, they conducted a competing training program for the two. Regarding this training program, Qian Ye was also very patient, explaining and demonstrating to the two of them. Finally, Qian Ye also put forward their respective requirements, goals, methods and ultimate goals, as well as the desired results to the two. Ishida Yulong and Sato Yasutora, after listening to Qian Ye's explanation and inquiries, they also suddenly understood, and some Li Zhaozhao suddenly realized. So that's it, it seems that I am following the right person. This is what the two of them think at this time. Originally, Sato Yasutora and Ishida Ryu should have nothing to do with each other. One is a Quincy, the other is a Force type. But for these two people, Qian Ye insisted on putting them together for training. And the words, and the advice are just right. This is a bit like, Qian Ye is trying to make up for the weaknesses of the two of them, but also makes them more convinced. Qian Ye left the valley and walked out of this base camp after speaking to Sato Yasutora and Ishida Yulong and arranging the training. You have completed the instruction to the three. Get the event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. In the back mountain valley of the base camp, there is an indoor training ground. In the training ground, various training equipment are placed. Robbery. Chapter 207. Borrowing from Qian Ye. Violent slippers reappear. Advertise here. Hiroko Shinji, Lisa, and Hachigan brought Kurosaki Ichigo here. Here, Hiroko Shinji will be the training ground for intensive training of Kurosaki Ichigo. After coming here, Hiroko Shinji pointed to the various training equipment here very seriously, and said to Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo, Your next training is to use these training equipment for various physical training until you get yourself really tired and climb down. When Kurosaki Ichigo heard what Hiroko Shinji said, it was also full of black lines. Isn't it necessary to conduct intensive training on my hollow? How come I only have to face these cold equipment? Physical training. Is my Kurosaki Ichigo's physical fitness still poor? You see how good and strong I am. However, even though Kurosaki Ichigo thought so, he did not dare to say it. I had to, as Hiroko Shinji said, faced with these training equipment and started physical training. Hiroko Shinji met Kurosaki Ichigo. It has already started. After the physical training, he said to Lisa, Lisa, you are responsible for the physical training phase of Kurosaki Ichigo. 577 Lily didn't say much, she also came to Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo. Stop it for me, what are you doing? It's really weak. After Kurosaki Ichigo heard Lisa's roar, although he was a little dissatisfied, he stopped. Kurosaki Ichigo. You showed me a good look. I only do one demonstration of each type of equipment. If you don't do it again, then wait for you to be beaten. After Lisa finished talking to Kurosaki Ichigo, she couldn't help but started with demonstrations of various training equipment for Kurosaki Ichigo. At this time, Qian Ye also appeared here suddenly, and said with a light smile, it started. Captain Qian Ye, are you doing intensive training for Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yulong, and Inoue Orihime? Hiroko Shinji asked. Hiroko Shinji, can't I come over and take a look? I'm saying, they need training, but not me. Qian Ye still smiled. Captain Qian Ye, I don't believe it, you are here to supervise us. You must come here when something is wrong. Hiroko Shinji said. Of course, do you not go to the Three Treasures Palace for nothing? I am here, and I will ask you to borrow it for personal use temporarily. Qian Ye said very directly. I'll do it. Captain Qian Ye must have something. But, what about this guy? If we don't borrow anger, are we still weak? Hiroko Shinji said. Hiroko Shinji, you really don't borrow this person, even if I only borrowed a short time. Qian Ye asked with a smile. If you don't borrow, you don't borrow, Captain Qian Ye. You can find another place. Hiroko Shinji said again. Of course Hiroko Shinji also knows, who is Qian Ye going to borrow from him. In fact, Hiroko Shinji also knows that Inoue Orihime is in trouble now. And this trouble, maybe Hachigen of their masked legion can really help. Because of this, Inoue Orihime and Hachigen are somewhat similar in terms of abilities. At this time, Qian Ye asked again, Hiroko Shinji. I will ask you one last time. Captain Qian Ye, you are still our captain at a loss. Are you just scornful? Even if you say it 100 times, 1,000 times, I won't borrow it. Hiroko Shinji said firmly. Hiroko Shinji, since you are so determined, then I'll forget it. After Qian Ye finished speaking, he really walked out slowly. However, Qian Ye sighed as he walked. Oh, I wanted to use the other 5 members of the Masked Legion to exchange Hachigens for a while. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that they didn't change. When Hiroko Shinji heard what Qian Ye said, it was a flash step. He came to Qian Ye's body and blocked CDEJ Qian Ye's place. Captain Qian Ye, please stay. This person, I didn't really say not to borrow. Everything is easy to discuss, right? Hiroko Shinji hurriedly smiled. Hiroko Shinji, which one are you singing again? I'm very busy. Qian Ye looked at Hiroko Shinji with a smile. Captain Qian Ye, of course I know that our captain has everything to do, and of course he can't delay it at all. When Hiroko Shinji said this, he shouted to Hachigen, Little 8. Captain Qian Ye is looking for you for something, what are you still rubbing with? I just came to visit the captain. Hiroko Shinji was shouting and waving at Hachigen. Of course, Hachigen was the same. He had heard the conversation between Qian Ye and Hiroko Shinji clearly. Naturally, I know what happened. Hachigen, although he is a little bit arrogant. It's just that he has to dare to do it, he really doesn't dare to challenge Hiroko Shinji. Hiroko Shinji was in Hachigen, but when he ran over, he smiled and said to Qian Ye, Captain Qian Ye. What do you want Xiaoba to do? It doesn't matter how long you let him do it. While talking, Hiroko Shinji stepped away and stepped aside, and then came back, paying attention and earnestly, watching Kurosaki Ichigo's training. When Hiroko Shinji handed Hachigen to Qian Ye, he didn't mention anything about the return of the Masked Legion and the other 5 people. When Qian Ye saw this, Yin Yin also smiled. Sample, fight with me, you are still a little tender. After Qian Ye took Hachigen out of the valley of Qian Ye, he also walked. He talked to Hachigen and explained the situation of Inoue Orihime clearly. Of course, Qian Ye didn't let Hachigen really teach or help, and go to Orihime or something. It's just for Hachigen to better solve Inoue Orihime. Besides, being on Orihime will soon go to Soul Society. I didn't have too much time to communicate with Hachigen. Qian Ye is with Hachigen. After confessing the affairs of Inoue Orihime and giving orders. Just let Hachigen go to the training ground in the mountain valley alone to find Inoue Orihime. But Qian Ye himself left directly, the base of the Masked Legion. And just after Qian Ye left the Haoshan training ground, Lisa was getting angry. Kurosaki Ichigo. Are you so careless? Lisa yelled and ran towards Kurosaki Ichigo, who was doing running training. Snapped. Ouch. With the snapping sound, a slipper was actually slapped on the top of Kurosaki Ichigo's head. Chapter 208. The Power of Slippers. You can get ready. Advertise here. With the flapping of slippers, so did Kurosaki Ichigo, who exhaled in pain. Kurosaki Ichigo. What's your name? Go ahead and speed up, haven't you eaten? Speaking of eating, even Lisa felt a little hungry. I was thinking about the days when the 8 members of their masked legion were living together. At that time, how could anyone dare to let Lisa go hungry? This is all to blame for Qian Ye. Not all right, there are those damn it, annoying fiction. As for Kurosaki Ichigo, even though he suffered a slipper from Lisa, a violent woman, he still dare not say anything. I had to turn anger into motivation and used it for training. Seeing this, Lisa was somewhat satisfied. Lisa didn't know that Kurosaki Ichigo's motivation at this time was shot by her with a slipper. If Lisa knew that her slippers could play such power, I am afraid Kurosaki Ichigo would have to wait to change slippers all day. And seeing Hiroko Shinji in such a situation, he was also a little speechless. When did this Lisa also learn and come to Japan? Isn't the classic movement of this slippers belong to Nisei? Hiroko Shinji also couldn't help but feel cold in his heart and touched the top of his head involuntarily. Hachigan, after seeing Inoue Orihime, was also very surprised when communicating with Inoue Orihime. Therefore, Inoue Orihime at that time was far from what Qian Ye said. At this time, Hachigan, let alone tell him, teach Inoue Orihime. Even he wanted to turn it around and ask Inoue Orihime to teach him something. And all these changes of Inoue Orihime come from her meditation, from Qian Ye's preaching. Your most important thing is not, how do you want to do it, but, how do you want to do it? This is also the words that kept ringing in Inoue Orihime's mind. It was the same words that made Inoue Orihime suddenly start, as if waking up from a dream, it also seemed to understand something. It is precisely because of this change in Orihime that Hachigan was so surprised. Of course, this change of Inoue Orihime was also expected by Qian Ye. However, Qian Ye did not expect that he would be so fast on Orihime. Otherwise, Qian Ye would not find Hachigan for Inoue Orihime. Qian Ye also wanted Hachigan to come, to be different from Inoue Orihime, to let Inoue Orihime take less detours and spend less time to come. Hachigan, just as Qian Ye said, returned to the training ground in the back mountain in just a while. Seeing this, Hiroko Shinji didn't ask anything more, and Hachigan didn't say anything. At noon the next day, the 5 members of the masked corps, Nishiri, Odoribashi Rojiro, Luozi, Kuna Mashiro, Love Akawa, and Muguruma Kensai, also returned to Hiroko Shinji. You have worked hard, but you have to work harder. When Hiroko Shinji saw that the 5 had returned, he smiled and talked to the 5. We have worked hard for nothing, as long as we can help Kurosaki Ichigo. Muguruma Kensai responded. Hiroko Shinji, hollow training for Kurosaki Ichigo, is it really so difficult and so important? Hiyori asked in a puzzled manner. Hisari, Kurosaki Ichigo's hollow training is difficult, you will know in a few days. And the importance of Kurosaki Ichigo, you will see in future battles. Hiroko Shinji said, it is equivalent to not saying the same. Hiroko Shinji, but the situation outside is really not good at all. We all withdrew, I am afraid that the 2 female Shinigami deputy captains will be even more difficult to deal with. Not only is Hichili a little worried, but he is also telling the truth. Not only I know this, but also the Captain Qian Ye. I have Captain Qian Ye to deal with outside matters, and our task is to help Kurosaki Ichigo complete his hollow training. Hiroko Shinji is not only a reminder, but also a task for everyone. For 3 consecutive days, Kurosaki Ichigo has been using these equipment for various physical training. Kurosaki Ichigo, although it is very tired and very painful, but it is also improving day by day. Of course, this violent instructor's supervision is indispensable. In other words, Lisa has contributed to Kurosaki Ichigo's progress. As for Kurosaki Ichigo, although he has improved a lot, he has a lot of slippers. It can also be seen that the power of Lisa's slippers is powerful and powerful. It's just that, Lisa, a hero who has done good deeds, still doesn't know about it. For flowers. During the whole day of training, Kurosaki Ichigo didn't have any rest time at all. As long as it is Kurosaki Ichigo, relax and go slowly. Lisa will be yelled at, and Lisa's violent slippers will be slapped on top of her head. Lisa is now the instructor of Kurosaki Ichigo's training. Kurosaki Ichigo, of course, has to listen to her, and has to listen to her. At first, Kurosaki Ichigo didn't take the instructor seriously, nor did he take it to heart. Only when Kurosaki Ichigo enjoyed the hospitality of this violent woman, he became honest, only training desperately. Don't tell me, Kurosaki Ichigo, he really used those violent slippers as his motivation. In Kurosaki Ichigo, the 4th day of various physical training. When Kurosaki Ichigo thought he wanted him to face those cold equipment and the violent slippers of violent women. Kurosaki Ichigo is both impatient and unbearable, so boring physical training. So Kurosaki Ichigo protested loudly, Hiroko Shinji. I don't want this kind of training, what I want is hollow training. Kurosaki Ichigo. This is what you asked for yourself. Don't blame us at that time, because you haven't given you enough time to prepare. Hiroko Shinji said with a smile. Hiroko Shinji. I think I'm ready. Isn't it just sticking to it? I can stick to it, and I promise not to admit it. Kurosaki Ichigo said very firmly. Kurosaki Ichigo, of course, also summed up the experience from the training of the past few days, and that is persistence. He must persist. Indeed, Kurosaki Ichigo has greatly improved in all aspects during these 3 days of training. Originally, Hiroko Shinji was also preparing to stop physical training for Kurosaki Ichigo. Of course, Kurosaki Ichigo is also due to the existence of Lisa, a violent female instructor. Kurosaki Ichigo has basically met the requirements for hollow training in terms of physical fitness, will, and speed. Now that Kurosaki Ichigo has requested so much by himself, of course Hiroko Shinji will do it to him. This kind of favor will not be given away. Where? Chapter 209. Kurosaki Ichigo receives hollow training. Rukia Kuchiki asks again and again. Okay. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo, we are trying to start hollow training today. Hiroko Shinji finished speaking, showing his weird smile again. However, Hiroko Shinji couldn't help it, and reminded Kurosaki Ichigo. The next hollow training is the real intensive training. It is the training you have to overcome and face when you fight hollow. Are you really ready? Come on, Hiroko Shinji, I'm really ready. Kurosaki Ichigo is not only very firm, but also very confident. That's good. Kurosaki Ichigo, you can hear clearly, listen carefully. In the next hollow training, it can be said to be very dangerous. Of course, this kind of danger is not only a fight against you Kurosaki Ichigo, 577, even the 8 members of our masked legion are equally dangerous. Once hollow training begins, you must never stop until you finish hollow. Otherwise, everything will be lost. I hope you can persevere, I persevere, and persevere to victory, persevere to success. Don't let us down, don't let yourself down, let alone let Captain Qian Ye down. Quote. After Hiroko Shinji had finished speaking to Kurosaki Ichigo, he said to the other members of the masked corps, take it away, take Kurosaki Ichigo to the valley training ground. This is why Qian Ye let Xiaoba, the fat uncle, first come back with Hiroko Shinji to participate in the hollow training against Kurosaki Ichigo. Because in Kurosaki Ichigo, hollow's training can be said to be dangerous and dangerous. Qian Ye is also just in case, so there must be Xiaohachi, the barrier protection expert, and the protection deployed by Chen can do it. Soon, Kurosaki Ichigo was taken by the 8 members of the masked corps to what Hiroko Shinji said, the valley training ground. This so-called valley training ground, which is also the outdoor training ground of the masked corps, is also a practical training ground. In fact, it is a real barren mountain. Apart from barren land and barren hills, here are barren land and barren hills. However, the advantage of this training ground is that it is not afraid of being destroyed by violence. Even if it is destroyed, there is no loss at all. You can do it with great vigor. The entire training ground is a natural valley. This barren land and barren hills are not afraid of being destroyed. The entire training ground has long ago, Xiaoba, the enchantment master, has laid out various enchantments and various protective formations. As long as Xiaobai opens all kinds of big formations, as long as he doesn't let people out, I am afraid that it will be difficult for someone to break out. Of course, if someone has bad intentions and wants to go in, the same can't be done. This is why Hiroko Shinji and the others regard this as their main training ground. And in the eastern half at this time, Rukia Kuchiki of Soul Society also came to this world. Rukia Kuchiki did not come to Qian Ye first, but Hitsugaya Toshiro first. And let Hitsugaya Toshiro take her to the Urahara Kazuki store, to meet Urahara Kazuki and Yoruichi. Because Rukia Kuchiki did not know what happened in Karakura town in the present world since Qian Ye arrived, and Hitsugaya Toshiro had not had time to tell Rukia Kuchiki. I'm saying that this is what Urahara Kazuki requested when it was spread to Soul Society. It's just that Urahara Kazuki at that time also didn't know anything about Qian Ye and the Masked Legion. Rukia Kuchiki, although somewhat reluctant, decided to go to Urahara Kazuki first. After all, she didn't know the truth here, and everything had to wait until she met Urahara Kazuki before making plans. If Sister Wa requested Rukia Kuchiki to meet Qian Ye first. It's just that Rukia Kuchiki is a little puzzled. It is true that he has not seen the figure of Kurosaki Ichigo when he came to the world this time. Of course, what happened to Kurosaki Ichigo and others also happened after Hitsugaya Toshiro was spread to Soul Society. Naturally, Rukia Kuchiki would not know. Only when Rukia Kuchiki went to Urahara Kazuki's store. Urahara Kazuki asked, Rukia Kuchiki, Hitsugaya Toshiro, did you not tell you about Captain Qian Ye? Master Urahara Kazuki, what do you mean by this? Captain Qian Ye, has something happened? Rukia Kuchiki asked very puzzled. It seems that you really don't know it, let's put it this way. Actually you don't need to come to my place now. You should meet at the Masked Army base first, Captain Qian Ye. Urahara Kazuki said. Masked Legion base. What did Captain Qian Ye do there? What kind of power is the Masked Legion? Is it also in the present Karakura town? Rukia Kuchiki asked in surprise again. Unohana Kazuki just remembered. Rukia Kuchiki, who didn't know yet, Hiroko Shinji and the others came. Rukia Kuchiki, let me tell you so. In fact, this Masked Legion is made up of the so-called Visored. Not waiting for Unohana Kazuki to finish, Rukia Kuchiki asked again. Then what is Visored again? Visored. It's Shinigami who has been hollowed. They have both Shinigami's power and virtual ability. Unohana Kazuki had no choice but to explain. Then they don't mean that they are imaginary. Rukia Kuchiki also said truthfully. That's right and wrong. They are just what we want to watch out for, not to be hostile. Unohana Kazuki said again. Rukia Kuchiki, who was also fainted by Unohana Kazuki. What is meant by not being hostile? Is it obviously imaginary? Unohana Kazuki also knows, just to say that, Rukia Kuchiki, still don't understand, Hiroko Shinji and others Visored. Unohana Kazuki saw Rukia Kuchiki, and he did not speak yet, while still thinking about it. 4.9 Unohana Kazuki is very straightforward. In fact, Visored was also harmed by Aizen. What? They are also Aizen's subordinates, and they also absconded. Rukia Kuchiki asked in surprise again. It's good to be killed by Aizen. They absconded. It's just that they are Aizen's enemies just like us. Unohana Kazuki had no choice but to say. That is to say, the enemy of the enemy is the friend. Those Visored, the purpose is the same as ours, are to fight against Aizen. Rukia Kuchiki also came over with some clarity. By the way, Visored is actually on the same front with us, and they want to get rid of Aizen. Unohana Kazuki said again. Those Visored, where are they now? What did Captain Qian Ye do to them? Rukia Kuchiki asked again. Chapter 210. Mysterious Base. Rukia Kuchiki meets Inoue Orihime. Advertise here. Of course it is at the base of the Masked Legion, but well. Now it has become the base camp of Captain Qian Ye. Unohana Kazuki said very directly. Captain Qian Ye's base camp. What's going on? Rukia Kuchiki was surprised again. Of course it was Captain Qian Ye, who took those Visored over. Now all members of Visored belong to Qian Ye's team and become a member of Qian Ye's current team, guarding the western half of Karakura town together. Unohana Kazuki said here, after looking at Rukia Kuchiki, he said, now, you should also understand why Captain Qian Ye is at the base of the masked army. I understand about Captain Qian Ye. It's just that I'm here to pick up Inoue Orihime, and I didn't make a special trip to see Captain Qian Ye. Before Rukia Kuchiki finished speaking, Unohana Kazuki said again, you are asking, why should I say that you should not come to see me, but go to see Captain Qian Ye? Exactly. Rukia is also very direct and authentic. That's because Inoue Orihime is now in Captain Qian Ye's base camp. Unohana Kazuki said this, but after smiling, he said, not only did Orihime join Captain Qian Ye. Even the three of them, Kurosaki Ichigo, are also there now. Kurosaki Ichigo, why did they also go to Captain Qian Ye? Rukia Kuchiki was even more surprised. Because of Kurosaki Ichigo, they all need Captain Qian Ye to help them strengthen their strength. Moreover, the current Kurosaki Ichigo and them have also joined the team of Captain Qian Ye. Unohana Kazuki said directly. Rukia Kuchiki, after listening to Unohana Kazuki and talking about Captain Qian Ye. This finally understood why she didn't see Kurosaki Ichigo after she came to this world. It turned out that Kurosaki Ichigo and the others, not only went to Qian Ye's place, but also joined Qian Ye's team. So, Rukia Kuchiki said to Unohana Kazuki, Master Unohana Kazuki, then I will find Inoue Orihime first. I will be here then, please send us back to Soul Society. After Rukia Kuchiki finished speaking, he had to walk out of the Unohana Kazuki store. Wait, Rukia Kuchiki, let me take you there. Unohana Kazuki stopped Rukia Kuchiki. No, Unohana Kazuki-sama, I can do it myself. Rukia Kuchiki smiled. Rukia Kuchiki, let me take you there. Otherwise, you won't find the base camp of Captain Qian Ye. Unohana Kazuki said truthfully. Rukia Kuchiki didn't refuse anymore, just saying, then it will be Unohana Kazuki. Until Unohana Kazuki brought Rukia Kuchiki to the entrance and exit of the masked army base. Rukia Kuchiki asked in surprise again, Master Unohana Kazuki, why did you bring me here? Didn't you go to Captain Qian Ye's base camp? That's it. As soon as Unohana Kazuki finished speaking, he took Rukia Kuchiki's hand, flashed, and passed through the barrier and entered the base. This sudden change made Rukia Kuchiki's eyes widened, and she couldn't believe it. All of this is true. Therefore, what Rukia Kuchiki saw was completely different from what he saw before. It seems to have arrived, like another world. As for Rukia Kuchiki, I was very surprised, and I was surprised at random. Unohana Kazuki smiled and said, Rukia Kuchiki, Captain Qian Ye, they are in the valley ahead, I won't send you there. Just when Rukia Kuchiki wanted to say or ask something. But when I saw Unohana Kazuki, a flash body had disappeared in place and disappeared. Rukia Kuchiki just smiled bitterly, and ran into the valley. At this time, Inoue Orihime has returned, and this base asks his residence. Because she really has nothing to do, Sato Yasutora and Ishida Ryu are training like crazy. Not only did she ignore her, it was as if she didn't exist at all. Originally, Inoue Orihime wanted to see Kurosaki Ichigo. But she was afraid that it would be disturbed, so Kurosaki Ichigo's training also endured. Inoue Orihime. When Inoue Orihime was distracted, he suddenly heard someone calling her. Rukia Kuchiki. When Inoue Orihime came back to his senses, he saw Rukia Kuchiki, already standing in front of her, and looking at her with a smile. Inoue Orihime, of course, knew that Rukia Kuchiki came to pick her up. Inoue Orihime. Where's Captain Qian Ye? Rukia Kuchiki asked Inoue Orihime, still in a daze. Rukia Kuchiki. I don't know where Captain Qian Ye is. Kurosaki Ichigo is in the valley behind, undergoing intensive training, and Sato Yasutora and Ishida Ryu are practicing in front of the mountain. After hearing Rukia Kuchiki's question, he finally recovered from Orihime and told Rukia Kuchiki truthfully. Inoue Orihime. Then you take me to meet Kurosaki Ichigo first. Rukia Kuchiki said. Rukia Kuchiki. Let's forget it. This will disturb them. Let's go to Mr. Urahara Kazuki and let him send us to the Soul Society. However, Inoue Orihime not only opposes Rukia Kuchiki, he wants to watch Kurosaki, and he also very directly requested that he go to Soul Society immediately. Because Inoue Orihime not only wanted to go early and return early, but Qian Ye attached it to her when he left her. Once Rukia Kuchiki arrives, let Inoue Orihime immediately follow Rukia Kuchiki to find Sister Wa in the 4th Division of Soul Society 577. Rukia Kuchiki. Not only was Captain Qian Ye absent, but even the two deputy captains Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Azane were also absent from the base. Regarding Captain Qian Ye, Rukia Kuchiki also believes that it is better to return to Soul Society earlier and tell Sister Wa all this. Since not only can I not see Captain Qian Ye, but also Kurosaki Ichigo and them, it is not appropriate to respond. Since Inoue Orihime is also eager to go to Soul Society, let's take Inoue Orihime and go back to Soul Society. Rukia Kuchiki also knew that when she told Sister Wa about Captain Qian Ye in Karakura town, Sister Wa would have a decision. So, Rukia Kuchiki said, Inoue Orihime. Okay. We immediately went to Urahara Kazuki and asked him to send us back to Soul Society. It is worth reminding here that the current Kurosaki Ichigo, after the arrival of Qian Ye, did not take the Righteous Soul pill in the Urahara Kazuki store. In other words, there is no more, it is the soul, Kurosaki Ichigo comes. And Hiroko Shinji did not go, and Kurosaki Ichigo went to school, and the two were not related to classmates. In Hueco Mundo, Ulziola and Yami have just returned to Hueco Mundo from this world. Ulziola immediately went to Aizen and reported what they had learned during their trip to the world. Chapter 211. Ulziola see Aizen. Advertise here. Master Aizen, we are back. Ulziola said to Aizen as soon as he arrived at Aizen's office. Ulziola, did you investigate the specific situation? Have you resolved all those individuals? Aizen asked casually. Aizen just wanted Ulziola to go to this world and learn about the current strength of Kurosaki Ichigo in this world. Aizen didn't care whether he could influence his plan and kill Kurosaki Ichigo. Furthermore, Aizen hoped that Ulziola did not kill Kurosaki Ichigo and the others. Because of this, Kurosaki Ichigo and the others participated in the next match. It will be more interesting, and he also needs Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo to play with him slowly. In this way, Aizen will not feel too lonely. Aizen is not only a very conceited person, but also a very confident person. In Aizen's heart, there is no one who can be his opponent, let alone someone who can defeat him. All this is a little bit the meaning of seeking defeat alone. Regardless of whether it was Qian Ye of Soul Society or Kurosaki Ichigo of the present, Aizen deliberately left behind and did not kill their chess pieces. At least in Aizen's mind, he thinks so. Ulziola, after listening to Aizen's question. It was the truth. Master Aizen. I have thoroughly investigated all of them in Kurosaki Ichigo in this world. That's good, Aizen said indifferently. However, we haven't been in this new year. We will kill Kurosaki Ichigo. Ulziola said again. Oh, did you find anything? Aizen asked. The discovery is indeed there, but this is not the point. The important thing is that I think Kurosaki Ichigo and others are all rubbish at all. Ulziola said here, stopped, looked at Aizen and said, because, as you said, some waste, since it has become a threat to Master Aizen, it is not worth it. Let's go. Killed. That's true, let them live first. Anyway, when our winter plan is implemented, they will naturally all die. Aizen said confidently. I think so, I don't bother to kill him. I hope they will not let people be too disappointed in the decisive battle. Ulziola said again. Oh, by the way, what about your cash collection? Aizen still asked. Master Aizen, take a look first. Ulziola said, and gave Aizen the influence data he had gathered. While Aizen was watching and taking pictures, Ulziola did not explain to Aizen. Master Aizen, look at that girl, his name is Inoue Orihime. It's her, maybe she will be of some use to Master Aizen. Is this a girl with a special ability that is a healing technique? It's also a bit interesting, but it's also very special. Aizen also said. Master Aizen. This Inoue Orihime treatment seems to be somewhat similar to Soul Society, the 4th Division's treatment. However, it is completely different. Wuyi Wuziola also said. However, it was when Aizen watched these pictures and talked to Uziola. Huh, trash. I think you are also trash. Even trash can't be killed. But after listening, Grimjow, who was sitting on the side table, suddenly snorted coldly. When Yami heard Grimjow's cold words, he couldn't bear it. This anger came. I stopped doing it immediately, and retorted, Grimjow. You have to talk nonsense, we are not a waste, and we are not incapable of killing, Kurosaki Ichigo and the others are waste. What nonsense is I, since you can't kill it, Kurosaki Ichigo and the others? What do you want to do? You can't kill even trash. You're not trash, so what are you? Grimjow also confidently said. It's not like this at all, Mingang is Uziola, stop me, and don't let me kill them. Yami was also very dissatisfied. Hey, this excuse is pretty good. However, this can't be changed. The fact that your Yami is a waste as usual. Grimjow smiled happily. As long as you can, why would he not want you to follow at the beginning? I don't think that you can't either. Yami said. Really, if I were to go, it would be long before Uziola, without stopping me. I had killed them all of these wastes long ago. Grimjow was also very unconvinced. Who said that we can't do it? Didn't we have completed the task and came back? Yami was also very unconvinced. Yami, you are back, but some people have lost their lives for you. It is they who put your back on you so that you can complete the task and come back. Grimjow said that the Arrancar that was killed, of course, refers to the Arrancar that was beheaded by Ishida Yulong's father. That was just an accident. Shut up all. If you have the time and energy, you still have to prepare, how to meet, let's fight Soul Society and the present world. But before Yami could finish speaking, and just after reading it, Aizen, who was brought back by Uziola, shouted. But Uziola, who was standing by, was expressionless and did not say a word. In Uziola, he was originally engaged in technology and skill development research. Uziola is only interested in his research. As for other things, he is used to being the same, and he seems to be caring. Of course, this does not mean that Uziola has no combat effectiveness. You know, if Uziola is really incompetent, then he won't be Arrancar of N0 to 4. This is also only Wuyi Wuziola, generally unwilling to take action, disdain to participate in the battle. Li Jiao Jiao. Take the General Arrancar, whether it is Grimjow or Yami here, they don't want to fight Uziola. The reasons are no different, because all their battles and their own flash data have been researched by Uziola. Uziola is not only familiar with their combat skills, but can also control and restrain these combat skills. In other words, even if Uziola didn't make a move, it would be even more difficult to hurt him. Imagine that no one would come to fight such a monster. After reading the influence Uziola brought back, Aizen did indeed have a little interest in Inoue Orihime. However, it is only limited to small interests. Since Aizen has a small interest, it means that this Inoue Orihime is afraid that it has been targeted by Aizen and Uziola. So Aizen called Uziola alone. Chapter 212. Inoue Orihime. Advertise here. The secret room in Aizen. As soon as he entered the secret room, Aizen asked Uziola, Uziola. This one will go to Orihime. Isn't it already badly injured? Will it still be useful? No, Aizen-sama. Inoue Orihime's ability to be shattered by Yami is just the only skill she can fight, called Tsubaki Ghost. Uziola said. Then, do you know how many skills do you have with Orihime? Aizen asked curiously. There are 6 skills, but the key is her healing skills and her protection skills. Uziola said again. In that case, you are also interested in Inoue Orihime's skills. Aizen asked again. Of course Aizen knew that Uziola had taken a fancy, and had used Orihime's skills. Hey, I also want to study it by the way, the key is that she may be right, Aizen-sama, you are a little useless. Uziola had some excuses. I don't care if it is useful to me or you are interested. Let's get Inoue Orihime and Hueco Mundo first. Aizen is very straightforward. Master Aizen, that Rukia Kuchiki, we should also make 580. Uziola asked again. It's also time to get Hueco Mundo from Rukia Kuchiki. Aizen said here, after a pause, he said to Uziola, Uziola, next, you put your research first, put it down first. Go get both of them to me. Hueco Mundo, come on. Yes, Aizen-sama, I will definitely complete the task. Uziola responded immediately. After Uziola said this, he smiled at Aizen and said, Master Aizen. Maybe we will have surprises in time. What do you say? Aizen asked again. If we get Inoue Orihime, and Rukia Kuchiki, Hueco Mundo. Maybe, the one named Qian Ye, and Kurosaki Ichigo, they will all come to our Hueco Mundo to play. Hey. After Uziola finished speaking, he laughed. If this is the case, it would be a little bit interesting. Aizen was a little calm and authentic. Although Aizen was a little disappointed with Kurosaki Ichigo, he was not completely disappointed. CDEJ, what is more interesting now is that the good thing that almost broke him, now replaces him, the former captain of the 4th Division, the position of Qian Ye comes. Aizen didn't let people move Qian Ye now. I also want Qian Ye to be stronger, so that he can play. Now that Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo can be brought together, Hueco Mundo has also been attracted. Of course Aizen will not refuse, and does not hope that Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo will arrive sooner. Of course, even at this point, Aizen still hopes that Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo will be able to go back alive and be able to fight him in the final battle. In this way, you can not only see the strength of Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo, but also check the strength of these Arankars he is now under. Of course, Aizen would not, and would easily let Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo go back. Therefore, Aizen's plan came into being. It's just that he doesn't want to tell Ulziola now. Ulziola, then follow your plan. Aizen agreed to the tunnel. Aizen said here, he asked Ulziola again. Ulziola, when you went to the world this time, did you find Shinigami of Soul Society guarding Karakura town? That's not the case, it's just the resident Shinigami. Soul Society has not sent Shinigami from their 13 guards to guard Karakura town in the past. Ulziola replied. But if I want to come, Soul Society will soon send Shinigami of the 13 guards to protect Karakura town. Aizen said. Because Aizen has started his plan for the present Karakura town. At that time, Karakura town will surely be a river of blood. Soul Society also had to send Shinigami of the 13 guards to guard Karakura town. Then the current Rukia Kuchiki is still in Soul Society. Aizen asked again. Rukia Kuchiki is still in the Soul Society and is now the deputy captain of the 4th Division. However, the captain of the 4th Division, Unohana Retsu, guards this Rukia Kuchiki extremely seriously. Ulziola said again. Then the present Inoue Orihime, is it possible for her to be invited by Unohana Retsu to join her 4th Division? Aizen asked again. Although this possibility is not great, it can't be ruled out. However, if this is combined with Orihime, it will definitely receive the attention of Soul Society and the 4th Division. Ulziola said. I think Soul Society will take that Inoue Orihime to Soul Society's 4th round to strengthen her healing skills. Aizen said again. This is also possible. They also have to make arrangements and preparations for the rescue work in this world. This Inoue Orihime is their best candidate. Ulziola also agreed with some authenticity. When Ulziola said this, he smiled and said, oh, yes, let me take a look first. That Inoue Orihime, who is still not there now, is coming to Karakura town. Hey, this Inoue Orihime is still alive now. It seems that Soul Society has not acted yet. Ulziola said to Aizen after seeing it. Ulziola, I have handed over the 2 daughters of Rukia Kuchiki and Inoue Orihime to you. You will make arrangements for how to do it, and you can choose whoever you want to use. Who to use? Aizen was here to give Ulziola the final task and also expressed his attitude. However, before Ulziola could answer, Aizen was the first to leave. In the eastern half of the present Karakura town, Rukia Kuchiki has brought Inoue Orihime to the Urahara Kazuki store and found Urahara Kazuki and Yoruichi. Urahara Kazuki, Yoruichi-sama, please help us, open the door of the broken world, send me an Inoue Orihime, and return to the Soul Society. Rukia Kuchiki directly asked for help after seeing Urahara Kazuki and Ye. Rukia Kuchiki, Inoue Orihime, are you all ready? Urahara Kazuki asked. Ready. I'm ready too. Seeing Urahara Kazuki, the 2 daughters of Rukia Kuchiki and Inoue Orihime, both answered and were ready, and also showed a slight smile. Because of his worry about Inoue Orihime, he can finally let it go. So, Urahara Kazuki said to Yoruichi again, Yoruichi, let's get started. Open the door to pass through and send her too to the Soul Society. Chapter 213, Qian Ye's Lair. Sister Wa likes it. Advertise here. After Urahara Kazuki and Yoruichi opened the gate, Rukia Kuchiki and Inoue Orihime also entered the gate one after another. After Rukia Kuchiki brought Inoue Orihime to Soul Society, he took Inoue Orihime directly to the 4th Division. Rukia Kuchiki, after temporarily arranging Inoue Orihime, then went to return to life with Sister Wa. When Sister Wa saw Rukia Kuchiki's return, she asked, Rukia, have you gone to Karakura town? Have you seen Captain Qian Ye? Of course, Sister Wa also knows that since Rukia Kuchiki is back, Inoue Orihime must have also been received by Soul Society. Sister Wa, Captain Qian Ye is him. What's wrong with Qian Ye? Rukia Kuchiki, say it quickly. Before Rukia Kuchiki could finish speaking, Sister Wa asked in a hurry. Sister Wa, don't worry, Captain Qian Ye has nothing to do with him. Rukia Kuchiki quickly responded. At this time, Rukia Kuchiki, seeing Sister Wa look so hurried, was also quite speechless. As for it, isn't that what I want to tell you, the alarm that Captain Qian Ye made in Karakura town? Rukia Kuchiki, also in her heart, murmured secretly. However, Rukia Kuchiki can only whisper quietly in his heart. But she didn't dare to say it at all, in front of her, but her Captain Wa's sister. However, at this moment, Sister Wa said, Rukia Kuchiki, you are not in the dark, speak ill of me. Team leader, no, Sister Wa, I don't have one. Rukia Kuchiki, too, was told by Sister Wa to explain her concerns. Some panicked, and accidentally called Sister Wa to be the captain. You know, There is almost no one now, and then Unohana Retsu. It's the captain. They all call her Sister Wa, which is not only what Unohana Retsu requested, but also her favorite. Rukia Kuchiki, you don't have one, so why don't you say it again? Sister Wa asked about Qian Ye again, but didn't hold him accountable, Rukia Kuchiki whispered secretly. This is just Sister Wa, who doesn't want to smash Kuchiki and reveal Kia. Of course Sister Wa also knows that Rukia Kuchiki must be whispering about her and Qian Ye. Sister Wa, what are you talking about? Rukia Kuchiki apparently hasn't fully recovered yet, so this is the reason to ask. Say Qian Ye, what's wrong with him in this world? Sister Wa also directly raised Rukia Kuchiki to wake up. Oh, Captain Qian Ye, he has a base camp in Karakura town. Rukia Kuchiki had no choice but to speak directly. Base camp, what did he do when he set up a base camp in this world? When Sister Wa heard what Rukia Kuchiki said, she was also very puzzled. It is Captain Qian Ye, who took the base of the Masked Legion hidden in Karakura town in the present world, and used it as his base camp in the present world. Rukia Kuchiki paused for a while and said again, Captain Qian Ye also took the 8 Visored from the Masked Legion into his team. Isn't this that he is going to create a nest in Karakura town? This is still a bit interesting. Some ideas come, I like to blow, I support. After listening to Rukia Kuchiki's words, Sister Wa didn't take those Visored to heart at all, but became interested in Qian Ye's base camp. Rukia Kuchiki, seeing Sister Wa at this time, looked obsessed, and was a little worried. Sister Wa, you shouldn't be, you want to go to Karakura town? Rukia Kuchiki finally asked. Let's talk about this later. But this is now Karakura town, I will definitely go. Sister Wa said this, but the topic changed, and she asked about the business. Oh. By the way, Rukia Kuchiki. Where is that Inoue Orihime now? Sister Wa, that Inoue Orihime, I first arranged her in the team house of our 4th division. Rukia Kuchiki said. At this time, Sister Wa confessed the task to Rukia Kuchiki. Rukia Kuchiki, with this Inoue Orihime, I will leave it to you for the intensive training and learning in the future. Yes, Sister Wa, I promise to complete the task. Rukia Kuchiki also responded quickly. Rukia Kuchiki, you can pay attention to this matter. This is combined with Orihime, and it may be the main rescue force of Karakura town in the future. Besides, you and her should also be friends. For flowers, Sister Wa also reminded that Rukia Kuchiki came. Sister Wa, do you want to see this Inoue Orihime? Rukia Kuchiki asked. I don't need it for the time being. I will naturally see her when it's time to see. Having said this, Sister Wa turned her words again and said, Rukia Kuchiki. There is something about Inoue Orihime, intensive training, I think we should find a suitable training venue first. That's right, our training ground, I'm really afraid that it won't work. Rukia Kuchiki also said truthfully. Rukia Kuchiki, in my opinion, the entire training ground of the 13th Guards team is only the training ground of the 13th Division, which is the most suitable for your training. Sister Wa is very direct and authentic. Sister Wa, then I'll take Inoue Orihime first. Rukia Kuchiki said, I'm going to take Inoue Orihime to the training ground of the 13 Guards. Wait, Rukia Kuchiki, need me to say hello to Jashiro Yukitaki, the captain of the 13th Division? Sister Wa stopped Rukia Kuchiki and asked. Sister Wa, no need, let me go to Captain Jashiro by myself. Rukia Kuchiki finished speaking, and went out. In the present Karakura town, the back mountain training ground of the Masked Corps base. Kurosaki Ichigo at this time entered the valley. At this moment, Yadomaru Lisa also came to the valley training ground, and stood opposite Kurosaki I. Kurosaki Ichigo saw Yadomaru Lisa, standing there, looking at him with a smile, but also a little hairy in his heart. It's impossible, how could I be afraid of a woman coming? Kurosaki Ichigo was also very dissatisfied, and cried out in his heart. This Yadomaru Lisa is a famous sex girl, Kurosaki Ichigo knows. And Yadomaru Lisa is also a violent girl, Kurosaki Ichigo also knows. Of course, these are all training every day. Kurosaki Ichigo lies there, motionless while resting. I knew it when I heard the 8 members of the Masked Legion yelling at each other. Why? I'm afraid. It's right to be afraid. Lisa was the first to speak. I'm not afraid. I haven't played before. I don't know who loses and who wins. Kurosaki Ichigo pretended to be calm and authentic. Where? Chapter 214. Touch the bottom line. One-legged power. Advertise here. You don't have to refuse to accept it. For someone as weak as you, I will convince you with one leg. Lisa looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and spoke very disdainfully. However, in order not to completely hit Kurosaki Ichigo's self-confidence, Lisa also didn't say directly that Kurosaki Ichigo is a waste book. Come if you have the ability. See if I won't beat you up as a fat pig. Kurosaki Ichigo not only spoke boldly, but also mentioned Lisa's pain. You know, this fat pig's head has become Lisa's current dull pain and cannot be touched. She has forbearance, which is unbearable. At this time, Lisa couldn't bear it. As soon as Kurosaki Ichigo's voice fell, he saw Yadomaru Lisa, who suddenly stood upside down, and pressed his head straight against him like a 580, with one leg pressing on the top of the mountain. Shikai. The crescent moon rushes. Kurosaki Ichigo didn't hesitate anymore, directly Shikai, and rushed to Lisa. Suddenly, the battle between the two was on the verge of breaking out. It's just that the good times didn't last long, and I didn't wait for Kurosaki Ichigo to attack completely. However, Lisa fell to the ground with one leg and flew out. 13 seconds. Is it done in 13 seconds? It's really fast enough. I don't think it's better to call it 13 seconds fast. At Hiroko Shinji, the duration of the battle was just reported. Love Aikawa also continued with a smile. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo didn't stop it. Any call sound was just tingling his teeth, then he got up again and rushed towards Lisa again. Come again. Lisa just snorted coldly, still slashing towards Kurosaki Ichigo with one leg. In the same posture and at the same speed, Kurosaki Ichigo overwhelmed in the same way and flew out. However, this time, although it was still 13 seconds, the speed at which Kurosaki Ichigo flew out was much faster. Not only did it fly out faster, it also increased its strength too much. I saw Kurosaki Ichigo. This time not only the distance he flew was a third longer than last time, but he also received a dirt mountain bag directly. Fortunately, this mountain bag is blocked, Kurosaki Ichigo, otherwise Kurosaki Ichigo will be knocked farther. I saw that Kurosaki Ichigo at this time, the whole person was sunk in the dirt mountain bag. Cough cough cough. With a cough, Kurosaki Ichigo crawled out of the mountain bag. Cough cough cough. When Kurosaki Ichigo coughed and vomited again, he spewed a mouthful of blood. Obviously, Kurosaki Ichigo was not only injured this time, but it seems that the injury was serious. As for Kurosaki Ichigo, he didn't have time to stand up. But I saw that Lisa was also walking with her. She was already standing in front of Kurosaki Ichigo, and looked at him with forgiveness. And all of this, of course, is the full collection of the eyes of the few people who watched outside the array. What's the matter? Hiroko Shinji also asked with some understanding. Does this still need to be asked? There must be some people who touched the bottom line that shouldn't have been touched. Mugaruma Kensai said with a smile. It seems that our lascivious girl has exposed violence again. Fengchao Bridge Tower Jiro Rhodes also said. In the training ground at this time, Kurosaki Ichigo was knocked out by Lisa again. However, this was not over yet. I saw that Lisa was also walking with the shadow, chasing the past again. It was like a runaway. In the training ground at this time, it was a little thrilling. Hiroko Shinji is not afraid that Kurosaki Ichigo will be injured, nor is he afraid that Kurosaki Ichigo can't stand it, nor is it kind of hard. It's just that the confrontation training like this is somewhat beyond the strength, and it affects the normal confrontation training. So, Hiroko Shinji said to Hachigen, Little 8, get Lisa out for me and let her stop the confrontation training. Okay. Xiaoba also had to respond, as if it was a pity that these lively dramas were. Even though it was Hachigen, the protective array he had set up, he also had a way to force Lisa out of the array. I saw that after being forced out of the formation by Xiaoba, Lisa still had a face and an angry look. However, the people at this time did not ask much, let alone dared to ask more. Seeing this, Hai Shili also understood something. Damn Kurosaki Ichigo, see what I do with you next. After swearing inwardly in his heart, Hiroko said to Hiroko Shinji. Let me go down now. This training can't be stopped, isn't it? Of course Hiroko Shinji also knows that this training is unlikely to stop because of this. Besides, the current Kurosaki Ichigo, although he has suffered some injuries, is in the real battle. The enemy will not kill you because you are injured. This scene, no matter where it started, is just an accident, and training has to continue. So, Hiroko Shinji told Hachigen again, Little 8. Put in the Rishiri. But Hiroko Shinji, after agreeing to go to Kurosaki Ichigo for confrontation training, still couldn't help but exhorted Rishiri. Hisari, I don't care what you think or what you want to do. However, you have to give me a little relaxation. After all, this is a confrontation training. Hiroko didn't have it, so he took care of Hiroko Shinji. Because she just wanted to teach Kurosaki Ichigo, she didn't want to do Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo in the training ground quickly adjusted after seeing Lisa out of the training ground. Kurosaki Ichigo at this time, of course, also understood something. He just made a mistake that shouldn't have been made. He exposed Lisa's scar and touched Lisa's sore spot. Kurosaki Ichigo also smiled bitterly. It seems that this is the retribution of revealing the shortcomings of people, and it also made Kurosaki Ichigo a little bit speechless. However, Kurosaki Ichigo also knows that this training will not stop because of this. He must be adjusted in 4.9 as soon as possible to meet the next training. Of course, Kurosaki Ichigo also knew that no matter who from the Masked Legion came down to fight him, he would not have any ease. The reason is no different, just because he is not strong enough now, but also because he is not as skilled as humans, and he deserves to end. I want to become strong, I am not a weak scum, and I am not a waste. Kurosaki Ichigo was also in his heart, yelling over and over again. Persevere, persevere, persevere. Perseverance is victory. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Kurosaki Ichigo is also cheering for himself. Drink. At this moment, a roar came. Snapped. After a roar, There was another crisp sound. A slipper has been in close contact with the top of his head. Chapter 215. Slippers appear again. Violent women appear again. Advertise here. Ouch. Following that, Kurosaki Ichigo also cried out in pain. This is the debut of the real slippers girl and the real violent girl. In Lisa, whether she uses slippers or violence, compared to Nishiri, she is in a poor heat. As for Kurosaki Ichigo, I just touched it, and had a painful head. I haven't been stunned yet. Snapped. There was another crackling sound. This voice is not only louder than Lisa's voice, it is also louder than the one just now. Because this time the slippers were not on the top of Kurosaki Ichigo's head. It hit Kurosaki Ichigo on the face. I saw that Kurosaki Ichigo's left face was not only red and swollen, but also showing a slipper print. But at this time, in High Seri, it was considered to be standing, Kurosaki Ichigo's face to face. Similarly, some looked at Kurosaki Ichigo with a smile. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at the little bit in front of him, and when he touched his painful and swollen left cheek, it didn't seem to be a bit bumpy. This is of course uneven, there are shoe prints. Naturally it will not be smooth. However, this time Kurosaki Ichigo, although it was very painful, but it was forced to endure it, and did not exhale the pain. You. Just when Kurosaki Ichigo pointed with a finger very angry, Hiyori said when you came. However, Ri Shili grabbed the words and said, what are you? Are you unconvinced, or I slapped you in the face? And when Kurosaki Ichigo was so angry, before he could speak. Ri Shili said again. I know, cursing people don't expose shortcomings, and hitting people don't hit people in the face. Kurosaki Ichigo is also extremely angry. Then you still slap in the face. I can't slap others on the face at will, but I have to slap you on the face. Ri Shili was very confident and confident. Is it because I need you to help me with hollow training? Kurosaki Ichigo asked in pain, a little bit toothy. You can misunderstand this. Of course we wouldn't look down on people so much. What's more, you and I are both members of a team. Hiyori said. Then why? Kurosaki Ichigo asked still somewhat puzzled. Kurosaki Ichigo, you really don't know, you really forgot. What did you say just now, and why were you beaten up? Hiyori warned. Kurosaki Ichigo also understood after hearing what Hiyori said. It's because he just revealed a short story. Then what is it with you? You are retaliating arbitrarily, Kurosaki Ichigo said. Yes, what you said is right. I'm just wanting to retaliate against you. What can you do to me? Not only did Hichiri not deny it, he became even more ostentatious. But, I didn't talk about you. Besides, I was retaliated against by Lisa just now, Kurosaki Ichigo said. You are right, and not all right. Lisa's interest, she has recovered some of it, but what about mine? Hai Shili said here, but pointed to her own head and said, I also have a share of the fat pig's head. Of course, I have to collect my interest. Kurosaki Ichigo just remembered, indeed, some of the people who were beaten into fat pig heads by their captain Qian Ye at the beginning were also such little ones in the Japanese history. This is not only in the past, it can be said that everything is still caused by him. After Kurosaki Ichigo understood this, he became even more speechless. Isn't it? Even if you say the wrong words, you are still responsible for the delay. At this time, Hiyori said, Kurosaki Ichigo. I am here to collect interest, and I am also here to accompany you in combat training. Hiyori said this, but stopped, smiled and pointed to Kurosaki Ichigo's head and face. However, our training purpose is to Fat Pig's head. Of course, if you have that ability, you can also use it. I was also beaten as a fat pig. Hisari, can we change to another training program? Kurosaki Ichigo was a bit dark and honest. Of course Kurosaki Ichigo knows, if it is true according to what Nisei said, keep training like this. Of course it was him who became a fat pig. Kurosaki Ichigo didn't want to also beat Nishiri into a fat pig. The key is for him to have the ability to do well, at least for him now, it is absolutely impossible. Kurosaki Ichigo. Training begins. Snapped. However, the prompt sound just fell just in the day. Waiting for Kurosaki Ichigo to react, but there was a snapping sound, and a slipper hit Kurosaki Ichigo's right cheek again. I saw that the figures in the world at this time hadn't fully settled down yet. Not only did it deliberately by Hiyori, he also caught the slippers thrown into the air with his left hand, and slapped Kurosaki Ichigo on the right cheek with his left hand. Therefore, Kurosaki Ichigo and Nishiri were opposed to each other. Therefore, Hiyori's left hand shot, the goal is naturally Kurosaki Ichigo's right wrist. Kurosaki Ichigo here not only hurts, but also aroused real fire. Shikai. The crescent moon rushes. Kurosaki Ichigo also immediately shikai, and while rushing towards Nishiri, he also slashed out. It's just that Kurosaki Ichigo is fast, but Hiyori is faster than him. At this time, in the high life, not only did he avoid Kurosaki Ichigo's crescent moon, but did not appear to come to Kurosaki Ichigo's back. At the same time, the slippers on Ri-Sei-Ri's right foot had fallen from the air and was picked up by Ri-Sei-Ri in his right hand. Snapped. There was another crackling sound, Kurosaki Ichigo's right wrist, and another 580 slippery boards came. At this time, the situation in the training ground can also be seen. The 7 members of the Masked Legion have a cold back. Hirako Shinji touched his face involuntarily. I was afraid that Rishili would beat him like this. In the valley training ground behind the base, Kurosaki Ichigo and Hizari are fighting lively. And in the valley training ground beside the base, Sato Yasutora and Ishida Ryu are also fighting each other, and they are evenly divided. With an iron arm, Sato Yasutora shot Ishida Ryu, and the arrow rain attacked them one after another. After being shot down, he was a little out of breath. However, Sato Yasutora shouted, Ishida Ryu, are you capable of this? It's not enough for me to warm up, come again. Sato Yasutora, you are less arrogant, I was afraid that I would shoot you, so I didn't dare to do my best. Ishida Yulong was very disdainful. Stop fart, do more. What do you have, do it all. Sato Yasutora is not so unbearable, Sato Yasutora said. That's good, this is what you said. However, Ishida Yulong's words have ended, and his silver thrombus arrow has already been shot at Sato Yasutora. Ishida Yulong's arrow, not only as fast as lightning, but also not very accurate, came straight to the front door of Sato Yasutora. Chapter 216. Intensive training welcomes the climax. Arrancar imitation is coming. Advertise here. It's too late to say, then it's fast. I saw Sato Yasutora, but this time he used the left-handed tiger fist. Woolen cloth. Hearing a loud bang, Ishida Yulong's silver thrombus arrow, Holy Destruction arrow, burst to pieces at the sound. Of course, Sato Yasutora is not comfortable either. Not only was Deng 10 steps behind the ground, blood was also flowing from the corners of his mouth. This of course was shaken by Jian Jin. Although this Sato Yasutora blasted the disease shot by Ishida Ryu, it was also shocked by a serious internal injury. In Soul Society. At this time, Rukia Kuchiki already took Orihime and came to the 13th squad. Rukia Kuchiki, after coming to the 13th squad, he found the 13th squad captain, Jashiro Yukataki, in the 13th squad captain's room. Hello Captain Jashiro. Rukia Kuchiki asked Jashiro Yukataki as soon as he entered the captain's room. Rukia Kuchiki, why are you here? When Jashiro Yukataki saw Rukia Kuchiki, he was also a little surprised. This is not to say that Jashiro Yukataki, Rukia Kuchiki is not welcome. But he knows that this Rukia Kuchiki, but generally rarely see anyone. The specific reason, not to mention everyone knows, is not about Hōgyoku. When Rukia Kuchiki came to meet Jashiro Yukataki, he had already let Orihime meet and waited for her at the door, but did not follow in to see Captain Jashiro. Rukia Kuchiki, seeing Jashiro Yukataki asking like this, shook his head a little helplessly, very helpless. I am helpless, but I still have to say things and things still have to be done. Therefore, Rukia Kuchiki had to say very directly, Captain Jashiro. I came here to ask you for something. Rukia Kuchiki. That's too polite. You don't need to say anything else. Everyone is from the 13 guards. If you can ask for anything, if you have anything, you can say it. Jashiro Yukataki is said with a smile. Captain Jashiro, I want to borrow it from you, the training ground of your 13th division. Rukia Kuchiki also said directly. Rukia Kuchiki, what are you doing on the training ground? Your 4th division. Jashiro Yukataki just said this and stopped immediately. Yes, the 4th division is a treatment team, and it doesn't seem to have a decent training ground. However, Jashiro Yukataki still asked, Rukia Kuchiki, do you want to train yourself, or do you train for the 4th division? Neither. I brought my friends to some intensive training. Rukia Kuchiki is very direct and authentic. Your friend. What kind of friend? Men's and women's. When is it? When do you invite me to have a wedding wine? Jashiro Yukataki asked a series of questions. Captain Jashiro. No, you misunderstood. The friend I mentioned is my friend in Karakura town, and her name is Inoue Orihime. Rukia Kuchiki, also blushing, told the truth uncomfortably. Naturally, Jashiro Yukataki also knows a little bit about the situation of Karakura town in this world. For this Inoue Orihime, Jashiro Yukataki, the same is known. It turned out to be Inoue's weaving woman. What about her? Jashiro Yukataki asked. At this time, Rukia Kuchiki, after listening to Jashiro Yukataki's question, ran to the door, pulled Inoue Orihime, and walked in together. Inoue Orihime. This is from the 13th division, Captain Jashiro Yukataki. Pulled by Rukia Kuchiki, Inoue Orihime entered. Rukia Kuchiki pointed to Jashiro Yukataki and introduced it to Inoue Orihime. Hello Captain Jashiro Yukataki. I'm from Karakura town, Inoue Orihime. Please advise. Rukia Kuchiki, when I saw Inoue Orihime, he not only reported his name, but also told him where he came from. Also smiled, it seems that I don't need to introduce it. Inoue Orihime, I know you. Is your injury better? I will be called Captain Jashiro in the future, otherwise my full name is a bit longer, I can't remember it. Jashiro Yukataki said with a smile. Thank you Captain Jashiro for your concern. My injury is no longer a serious problem. Thank you also to Captain Jashiro's training ground. I have come to strengthen training for my strength. My darling, this Inoue Orihime is really straightforward. I only talked twice, so everything is clear. No thanks, Inoue Orihime, you are also in order to recover your strength as soon as possible, so as to meet the next battle, this training ground, you just use it. After listening to Rukia Kuchiki, after the conversation between Jashiro Yukitake and Inoue Orihime, she felt a little redundant. As a result, Rukia Kuchiki did not say much, and did not even say thank you to Jashiro Yukitake, so he immediately pulled it and went to Orihime, the training ground of the 13th Division. After Rukia Kuchiki took Inoue Orihime to the training ground of the 13th Division captain, it was very straightforward. Come on, Inoue Orihime, our training has officially started. You have to work hard, and you have to hold on. Persevere, persist again, persistence is victory. I want to become stronger, I will never be a waste. Just after Rukia Kuchiki's words were finished, Orihime spoke very firmly. While Inoue Orihime said, he opened the frame. However, because of this, Inoue Orihime has lost Tsubaki's attack ability. Therefore, what Orihime puts on is just a defensive posture. Of course, when Rukia Kuchiki received, Sister Wa arranged her task. It is also for her to strengthen Inoue Orihime's defensive ability first. It is also Inoue Orihime that makes the strength of the protective cover possessed. As for the treatment, Sister Wa is to let Inoue Orihime, Rukia Kuchiki, first tell her some theoretical knowledge when he is resting. In the present Karakura town, Qian Ye has since left the base of the Masked Legion. Immediately joined with Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, the two deputy captains, and stayed with them all the time. Because Qian Ye knew that the emptiness in Karakura town was about to begin to change qualitatively. The emptiness that has appeared has changed from the number of counts to the strength of strength. If the two daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen are allowed to face each other alone, I am afraid it will be a bit difficult. Just as Qian Ye just joined, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen's two daughters joined together. Toot toot. The Reiatsu receivers worn by Qian Ye and the three of them sounded the alarm sound. Come yet. Therefore, the point displayed on the receiver. It's not like the previous time, it was a large piece of celery, but this time there was only one celery. However, the intensity and color of Reiatsu displayed are infinitely close to Aaronkar, and it has surpassed the existence of ordinary virtuality. Chapter 217. Eastern half is in a hurry. Qian Ye shot. Advertise here. Captain. It's in the eastern half. Matsumoto Rangaku saw clearly, and when Reiatsu's position appeared, he spoke to Qian Ye. Captain Qian Ye, it seems that the imaginary that appeared this time is a bit strong. Are we going to support it? Katetsu Aizen also asked. This is not like a general imaginary. According to my estimation, it should be Aaronkar. However, it will never be Aizen's former espada. Qian Ye said. However, Qian Ye did not tell the truth. Because this time, it is not Aaronkar, but an imitation of Aaronkar. This is like Aaronkar, although it is only a second-hand Aaronkar, but it is also very troublesome. Captain, all the Aaronkars this time are in the eastern half. How about I go to support the eastern half? Matsumoto Rangaku said to Qian Ye. As everyone knows, even though the western half has not yet appeared, it does not mean that it will not appear. The three of Qian Ye, Matsumoto Rangaku, and Katetsu Aizen are responsible for protecting the western half of Karakura town. Naturally, they can't leave all of them. Matsumoto Rangaku, Katetsu Aizen, inquire about the shared answering device immediately. Qian Ye said. Shared 580 answering device, which is another function of the Reiatsu receiver, which they wear on their wrists. You can call each other, you can talk to each other. It is used to call the other party, or to convey instructions, to report the position and the battle situation. Qian Ye took Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, the two deputy captains, to the western half of the present Karakura town. Let everyone turn off this feature. Of course, since it is shared, so naturally, the 6 people who came to this world shared this time. And not just 3 people in each half of the district share. Just as the two girls, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, opened the shared channel, they heard the voice of Abarai Renji. Captain, I am Abarai Renji. On Dongyi Street, I was besieged by an imitation Aaronkar. Please support. Captain, my Kira, on East 3rd Street, I am being chased by an Aaronkar. Kira, Abarai Renji, I am also being besieged by masks. I order. All these Aaronkars shall be beheaded. Huhu, drink, Shikai, Shuangjing Zabameru, sit in a frosty sky, higher Inmaru. In the shared channel at this time, it was heard one after another, Hitsugaya Toshiro, the voice of their fighting in the eastern half. At this moment, in the shared channel, Kira Iziru's call came again. Captain Qian Ye, Eastern half asks for support. Request support. Please answer when you receive it. Qian Ye was also a little speechless after hearing Kira Iziru's cry for help. But the two daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen watched Qian Ye come. Obviously, they wanted to support the eastern half. It's just that Qian Ye was there, and the two of them didn't dare to make their own decisions, so they had to look at their captain Qian Ye with questioning eyes. Receive. Qian Ye also had to respond, but Qian Ye was also going to rush to the eastern half of Karakura town to see the situation. This is exactly why Qian Ye, the second daughter of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, opened the shared channel at this time. Qian Ye responded to Kira Iziru, then whispered to Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen. Matsumoto Rangaku, Tiger Tetsukiyoshi. Now the guardian task of the western half is left to you two to guard. Qian Ye paused for a while and said again. You two remembered, no one is allowed to leave without my order. Half a step in the western half, your responsibility is to protect the western half of Karakura town. Qian Ye finished speaking. Before waiting for Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen to respond, he used the instant opening and disappeared in an instant. So fast. When Matsumoto Rangaku saw Qian Ye disappearing and leaving, he also gave a loud applause. Qian Ye's goal, of course, is to go straight. Kira is located, CDEJ, one street in the eastern half of the district. Because of the imitation of Arrancar this time, the appearance was too sudden. Hitsugaya Toshiro and the others did not have time to take these Arrancars and led them to no man's land for combat power. As soon as Qian Ye appeared on a street in the eastern half of the district, he saw Kira Izuru, who had been surrounded by dozens of Arrancars and was besieging them in turn. Seeing this, Qian Ye was also speechless. This is not. Is Huluo Plain being bullied by dogs? I saw these imitating Arrancar, all ferocious, covered in scales like potassium. However, this form, it is a bit ugly. Like any lizard, it's not all like. However, Qian Ye at the moment can care about what they look like, which is Bankai very directly. Bankai. Feiyulianfang. Suddenly. Chang Chang. With the sound of a phoenix sound, Zanpakuto in Qian Ye's hands also changed immediately. The blade changed immediately into a five-shaped bird shape flying. Moreover, Qian Ye's body was faintly seen, the ghost of a colorful bird with a single feather coming. At this time, Qian Ye's spiritual power and Reiatsu increased sharply, and he was more than doubled in an instant. Qian Ye also started the battle immediately. After Qian Ye played the victory, the one who was fast had nothing to say, but in the blink of an eye, Qian Ye cleared a large area in front of Kira Izuru. Kira Izuru, who was able to breathe, breathed hard and said, Captain Qian Ye. Thank you. Also, Kira Izuru at this time is indeed too tired. Although these Arrancar-like battles are not very strong, there are many of them. Kira Izuru, although he won't be hurt, he still feels a little powerless. Because double fists are hard to beat four hands. What's more, this is not 4 hands, 40 or 400 hands. Kira, in my opinion, don't take a break and clean up these ugly things. Your captain, I'm afraid it is still waiting, you will support it. Qian Ye was talking to Kira Izuru, killing these very ugly imitation Arrancar. These ugly imitations of Arrancar, no matter how many, cannot withstand Qian Ye's killing, not to mention that Kira Izuru is not weak, good or not. With little effort, under Qian Ye and Kira Izuru's killing, the last imitation Arrancar was slashed by Qian Ye and turned into a black mist and dissipated in the air. It's really weak. Yes, these are not only fakes, inferior products, second-hand products, but also products that Aizen dislikes. You helped Kira Izuru clean up the imitation Arrancar. Get the event reward. Spiritual power plus 20. After Qian Ye cleaned up the Arrancar here, he just sighed a little, and said to Kira Izuru. Kira Izuru, don't froze, it's not time to rest. In Kira Izuru, before he responded to Qian Ye was very straightforward. Go. Kira Izuru, let's go to 3rd Street, help Abarai Renji. Chapter 218. Like Arrancar, zoom in. Qian Ye defeats the enemy with one move. Advertise here. After Qian Ye spoke to Kira Izuru, he ran to the 3rd Street in the eastern half of the district first. However, at this moment, Qian Ye, in order to wait for Kira Izuru, did not resort to Lin Hua, but was running with Shunpo. When Kira Izuru saw Qian Ye, he had already left in the direction of 3rd Street and quickly followed. When Qian Ye and Kira Izuru rushed to 3rd Street one after another. But I saw Abarai Renji, on a roof, fighting the imitation Arrancar. The imitation Arrancar here is different from what Qian Ye killed before, but it is still ugly. Of course, the imitation Arrancar that appeared here is obviously much larger. Abarai Renji is not only Bankai, but also very powerful. It is worthy of being the top Bankai. I saw that in Abarai Renji at this time, the snake skull appeared on his right hand to bite the knife, and the huge, 580 inches snake tail was wrapped around Abarai Renji's waist. The baboon king's arm was floating above Abarai Renji's left arm. Already, infinitely applying for growth, attacking fiercely and quickly in a very small area, these are extremely ugly, and some are huge and imitate Arrancar. The attack of the baboon king was so powerful that it was astonishing. Even so, these imitations of Arrancar were in Asan Renji. After a large area was wiped out, there was a large area of imitation Arrancar, which was occupied by Abarai Renji, and was emptied by Abarai Renji. This is simply endless, the endless end. At this time, Abarai Renji, even though he was not injured, also consumed a lot of money, and seemed to be a little hard to support. Do it. Qian Ye was the first to move his hand after speaking to Kira Izuru. The same phoenix sound rang, also extremely fast. Those shares of Arrancar will die if touched, and will die soon. Of course, this is not surprising, because these imitations of Arrancar are already weak and scumbags, but there are just a lot of them. Kira Izuru also launched an attack quickly. At this time, Abarai Renji, seeing Qian Ye and Kira Izuru approaching, also breathed a sigh of relief in secret. However, Abarai Renji did not stop his attack. Because Abarai Renji also knows that it is not right now, it is time to relax, it is time to relax, and it is not time to rest. There are many imitation Arankars here, but they can't stand the killing of the three of Qian Ye. Gradually, the increasing speed of imitation Arankar is getting slower and slower, and the number is getting less and less. Just after Qian Ye attacked, after another wave of attacks, the imitation of Arankar is also completely wiped out. Finished. Next time. Just when Abarai Renji, not yet, said a word of thanks. But after listening to Qian Ye's words, he took the lead and ran towards Hitsugaya Toshiro. Abarai Renji, are you okay? Hira Izuru still asked. It's okay. Abarai Renji shook his head and sighed authentically. Since it's okay, let's go. We are helping the captain. Hira Izuru also said as he followed Qian Ye. Abarai Renji also followed immediately. At this time, Hitsugaya Toshiro was indeed in trouble. Here in Hitsugaya Toshiro, the imitation of Arankar appears. Not only is it tall and big, but it doesn't know how to do it. I saw these imitations of Arankar, 1 divided into 2, 2 divided into 4. This situation not only made Hitsugaya Toshiro very speechless, but also very surprised. What kind of monsters are these? Could it be that you want to be like this, trap me and drive me to a desperate situation? Although Hitsugaya Toshiro and Bankai are also very powerful, they also cannot withstand consumption. At this moment, Hitsugaya Toshiro saw it. Qian Ye brought Kira Izuru and Abarai Renji, and rushed over. Originally, Hitsugaya Toshiro was also very worried about Abarai Renji and Kira Izuru. Hitsugaya Toshiro, not only Abarai Renji and Kira Izuru, came here safely. And Captain Qian Ye also rushed here, he was very happy and relieved. Captain Hitsugaya Toshiro, I'll help you. However, even after Qian Ye had finished speaking, Hitsugaya Toshiro had not yet come to answer Qian Ye. But when I heard the imitation Arankar surrounding Hitsugaya Toshiro, not only did he talk, he was still talking. Haha, you will die if you come too much. I want you all to die. I saw an imitation of Arankar at this time, not only appeared Red Phantom, but also immediately split into 2. Yo, he can still talk. Abarai Renji was a little surprised. It's really an old trick, can you do this? Is there anything else? At this moment, Qian Ye pointed to the imitation Arankar and asked with disdain. Damn you, I will kill you all. The Arankar imitation seemed a bit angry and authentic. The damn thing is you, it's all of you. Qian Ye said, but Bankai came directly, at the same time as Fengming sounded. Those imitations of Arankar seemed to be taken aback. Do it. While Qian Ye shouted, Qian Ye's Feiyulian turned back and attacked in the direction of the imitation Arankar who was talking. Once touched, you will die, and when you are near you will die. Hitsugaya Toshiro, Kira Izuru, and Abarai Renji. Seeing that Qian Ye had launched an attack, he was unwilling to lag behind, and started attacking and killing those who imitated Arankar. Of these 3, Hitsugaya Toshiro, Daiguren Hiramaru, is the most dazzling. I saw that the world at this time seemed to have changed the same. Hitsugaya Toshiro, Daiguren Hiramaru, also gave birth to a huge ice dragon. A chain was born. At the end of the chain, there was a crescent-shaped tail. At this time, Hitsugaya Toshiro was already using the Lengdi ice array. Alas, what's the matter? How come these imitations of Arankar don't seem to have the ability to regenerate? After all the imitation Arankars in the ice formation disappeared, Hitsugaya Winter Lion was 4.9 Lang, but he was very surprised to find that these imitation Arankars seemed to have lost the trick of being a clone. Because in the past, no matter how many Hitsugaya Toshiro killed, more would split up very quickly. It's just that it's completely different now. They kill one and lose one, and kill one and lose one. These imitations of Arankar, no more clones. Catch the thief first. At this moment, Qian Ye's laughter came. But Qian Ye went on to say, quick. Almost wiped out them all. They have been stuck with temporary numbness, and there is not much time. After listening to Qian Ye's reminder, the 3 Hitsugaya Toshiro also made great moves. Wow, it's really it's supreme thing. Finally, all of them have been wiped out. At this time, Hitsugaya Toshiro was also deeply relieved, and the evil in his heart came. Chapter 219. Matsumoto Rangaku meets Shota. Discovery in Central Park. Advertise here. Western half of Karakura town. And at this moment, in the western half of Karakura town. While Matsumoto Rangaku was patrolling as usual, he saw a little boy running towards her. Moreover, the boy not only looked anxious, but also seemed to be looking for something. Soul. Matsumoto Rangaku also recognized it at a glance. This little boy is not only a soul, but a spirit. Could it be that he came to seek soul burial? It doesn't seem to be right. What about him? Since I met it as the soul of the whole soul. Of course he must be buried in his soul and guide him to where he should go. If he stays in this world for a long time, he will be hollowed out by resentment and become empty. At that time, it will not be a soul burial, but beheaded. It doesn't matter whether it is to be buried in the soul, or to be killed after being killed, it is the responsibility of a Shinigami. However, just as Matsumoto Rangaku was thinking about this, the little boy ran up in front of Matsumoto Rangaku and stopped. Excuse me, are you the Shinigami god who came to this world? The little boy not only stopped in front of Matsumoto Rangaku, but also suddenly asked Matsumoto Rangaku. Yes, I'm Shinigami Matsumoto Rangaku, I'm here to protect Karakura town. When Matsumoto Rangaku saw the little boy's question, he responded very directly. Miss Matsumoto, my name is Shota. Before Matsumoto Rangaku could speak, Shota said again, Ms. Matsumoto. I beg you not to give me a soul burial, okay? Matsumoto Rangaku was also a little surprised when he heard Shota's words. Why, don't you want to go to Soul Society? No, it's not that I don't want to go to Soul Society. Shota also said hastily. Then why don't you want me and give you a soul burial? Do you know that if you stay here for too long, you will never be able to go to Soul Society? Matsumoto Rangaku also told Shota truthfully. Ms. Matsumoto, I know this, Shota said again. Matsumoto Rangaku was surprised again, it shouldn't be. This Shotai is clearly a soul, how could he seem to know everything? Shota, you said you know, then what do you know? Matsumoto Rangaku still asked the question in his heart to Shota who is the soul. Ms. Matsumoto, I also accidentally heard what Shinigami of Soul Society said. After talking about this, Shota looked at Matsumoto Rangaku again, and said sincerely, because I am a soul, if I don't get it in time, Shinigami of Soul Society will carry out soul burial. If our soul stays in this world for a long time, it will be affected by the grievances in our heart and become imaginary. At that time, not only will we not be able to go to Soul Society, but we will be beheaded by Shinigami of Soul Society and go to hell. After Matsumoto Rangaku listened to Shota saying so, he also believed it. Shota really knew this. However, the problem is coming again. That being the case, then this is Shota of the soul, and he must have stayed in this world, not for a short time. Then Shota, now that he knows this, why would he not let Shinigami carry out his soul burial and go where he should go? And why would he come to see me, beg me, tell me this? Whenever he had a question, Matsumoto Rangaku had to ask it face to face and figure it out. Then, since you know this, why do you come to beg me not to bury you? Is there something on your mind? Or are you afraid? At this point, Matsumoto Rangaku also explained, Shota, don't be afraid, as long as you go to Soul Society, everything is a good start. As long as you work hard, you will become a Shinigami like us in the future. Quote. Miss Matsumoto, my sister is gone, I want to stay to find my sister. Even if I want to go to Soul Society, I have to go with my sister. At this time, Shota had to tell Matsumoto Rangaku truthfully. What is your sister's name? How did she disappear? Where did she disappear? Of course Matsumoto Rangaku also knows that since it is Shota's younger sister, it must be the same. Ms. Matsumoto, my sister's name is Yui Toyokawa, Yui. I didn't see it in Central Park. I'll take you there. When Shota finished speaking, he beckoned to Matsumoto Rangaku, then turned and ran forward. Now that Matsumoto Rangaku knew it, he would naturally go to Central Park to see what happened. Perhaps it is possible to find some clues from the place where Wei disappeared. The Central Park mentioned by Shota happens to be in the western half of Karakura town. When Matsumoto Rangaku followed Shota to the Central Park, Shota walked over and stopped at a swing. Miss Matsumoto, my sister Xiaowei, she didn't see her on this swing. It's all my fault. I left the little only club because of something. Xiaowei disappeared when I came back. Shota pointed to the swing in front of him and talked to Matsumoto Rangaku about what happened. However, at this time, Matsumoto Rangaku did not speak, but looked at it very carefully. Wrong. The remnants here seem to have large traces left by the emptiness. After Matsumoto Rangaku looked closely, he also found some clues. Since there is a possibility of appearing, then this Xiaowei, in all likelihood, has been swallowed by Xuanzai 580. You know, everything that is imaginary is happy to devour the soul. And Shu is also made to devour the soul to strengthen himself. Of course, at this time, Matsumoto Rangaku neither wants to tell Shota the truth now, nor can he tell him. In addition, Matsumoto Rangaku will still keep Shota temporarily. Because in the next process of searching for the imaginary, this Shota might be able to help, but it might not be possible. So, Matsumoto Rangaku smiled and said to Shota, Shota, don't worry, maybe your sister Xiaowei is lost by herself. I will come back here to look for you at that time, but that's not necessarily true. Ms. Matsumoto, is this true? Then I'll be here waiting for my sister Yui to come back. Shota said. Shota, listen to me, you can't stay here alone now, you must follow me. Matsumoto Rangaku also said hastily. Then my sister Xiaowei, what should I do when I come back here? I'm not here to wait for her, she can't find me either. Shota was also very embarrassed. Shota, don't worry, I have a special way to come. As long as your sister, Xiaowei, I will know as soon as he gets back here. At this time, Matsumoto Rangaku had no choice but to talk about a white lie. Ms. Matsumoto, are you telling the truth? You must not lie to me, Shota said. Chapter 220. Qian Ye is back. The imitation of Arankar appears again. Advertise here. Chapter 220. Qian Ye returns. The imitation Arankar appears again. Don't worry, I will definitely help you find Xiaowei. Matsumoto Rangaku had no choice but to say. Yeah, I believe you, Miss Matsumoto. Shota nodded in response. Then you still go with me? Matsumoto Rangaku also asked. Of course, Matsumoto Rangaku asked the same question too. The current Shota can no longer help himself. Either temporarily follow Matsumoto Rangaku, or Matsumoto Rangaku, immediately soul burial him and send him to the Soul Society. Then Ms. Matsumoto has to promise me not to bury me, I will follow you. Shota said. Okay, I promise you. Before I find your sister, I will never force a soul burial on you. Also, I will not allow other Shinigami to do a soul burial on you. Matsumoto Rangaku was also in order to be able to find the imaginary one more quickly, so he had to agree to Shota's small request. Matsumoto Rangaku took Shota and returned to their temporary residence in the western half of the district. However, it was not the base of the masked army, but the temporary shelter they found after they came to Karakura town. And at this moment, after the all-out killing of those imitation Arankars, Hitsugaya Toshiro then officially thanked Qian Ye for his rescue. Captain Qian Ye, this time thanks to your timely arrival and help us kill and clear these imitation Arankars. Thank you, Captain Qian Ye. We also thank you for saving us. Just after Hitsugaya Toshiro's words, Kira Iziru also hurriedly, very sincerely, thanked Qian Ye. You know, it was Kira Iziru who sent Qian Ye a call for help. In any case, Kira Iziru's thank you, it should be said. Hi, what are you all doing? Sorry me, everyone comes from Soul Society to guard Karakura town and kill these vain Arankar. Isn't it everyone's common responsibility? 1. Qian Ye said nonchalantly. However, what Qian Ye said was also the truth. Captain Qian Ye, we also have to thank you for this. When it comes to the responsibility of guarding, we are also in the negative. Hitsugaya Toshiro is also truthful. Okay, I won't accompany you anymore. I have to rush back to the western half. Qian Ye used Shunpo after speaking, and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. So fast. Seeing this, Kira Iziru was also very upset. Can you please? This is Captain Broken Peak's stunt, except for her, only Yoruichi-sama can Shunpo. Hitsugaya Toshiro, also very envious and jealous, began to explain. Of course Qian Ye rushed back directly. Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, the two deputy captains, now live in the temporary residence. Only when Qian Ye saw Matsumoto Rangaku, he was also surprised. What's the matter? How did this little girl keep a soul by his side? Is this Matsumoto Rangaku, and this hobby? Oh, what am I thinking about? However, it is not waiting for Qian Ye to ask the question in his mind. Matsumoto Rangaku smiled and said, Captain. What are you looking at? Don't think about it. Stop talking about me, don't talk about useless things. Tell me, what's the matter with my soul? Why don't he be buried in time? Qian Ye was looking at Shota, who was hiding behind Matsumoto Rangaku, and asked Matsumoto Rangaku very directly. At this time, Shota, seeing Qian Ye's sudden arrival, also involuntarily hid behind Matsumoto Rangaku. Captain. His name is Shota. It is true that the soul is true. However, not only can I not be able to carry out soul burial on him for the time being, neither can you, Captain. Matsumoto Rangaku did the same. Looking at Qian Ye, he was a little serious and spoke very seriously. Really? Not even me? Then please ask my deputy captain Matsumoto Rangaku, and give me a reasonable reason. Qian Ye said. Because I found some false secrets based on some clues provided by Shota. Matsumoto Rangaku said. Oh, what kind of secret is still related to this soul called Shota? Qian Ye asked again. Shota's younger sister, Yui, suddenly disappeared on a swing in the Central Park. And there is still a very special Reiatsu. At this time, Matsumoto Rangaku had no choice but to speak truthfully. You mean, this Reiatsu is beyond the imaginary, but it's not real Arankar? Qian Ye asked again. Yes, Captain. How did you know? Matsumoto Rangaku asked in surprise. Didn't you just say it? Qian Ye said with a smile. Did I just say it? It seems that there should be none. No matter what, business matters. Matsumoto Rangaku murmured in his heart after listening to Qian Ye's answer. Captain, what should we do now? Matsumoto Rangaku asked again. Where is Vice Captain Katetsu Aizen? Qian Ye asked. She went to patrol as usual, and she should be back soon. Matsumoto Rangaku responded. Okay, I'll rest for a while, and call me when she comes back. Qian Ye finished speaking, and then took another look at Queen Mother Shang before entering the interior of the residence. And just before Qian Ye went in, Katetsu Aizen also returned to his residence. Katetsu Aizen just returned from Central Park. Because of Shota's matter, Matsumoto Rangaku also discovered afterwards. The two women, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, focused their inspections on the Central Park and the vicinity of the Central Park. How did you find out again today? When Katetsu Aizen came back, Matsumoto Rangaku also greeted him and asked. Still not. Captain Qian Ye is back. Li Qian is good. Just before Katetsu Aizen's voice, the Reiatsu receiver in their hands kept beeping. There is a situation. Look where it came from. Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen exclaimed at the same time. Don't watch, Central Park. Take that Shota quickly and rush to Central Park with me. At this moment, Qian Ye not only appeared in front of the two daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, but also directly ordered. It's an errand car. As soon as he arrived at the Central Park, Qian Ye sent a warning to the two girls when he saw the monster in the center. It's not right, it's somewhat different from the previous imitation of errand car. Qian Ye was also immediate, and found something strange. By the way, doesn't Aizen still have a copy of errand car? It seems that this should be Aizen's copy of errand car. At this time, Qian Ye also suddenly remembered. Chapter 221. Abandoned by Aizen. Traces of Xiao Wei. Advertise here. Now that Qian Ye also guessed that this monster came from, then everything has a plan. Ever since. Katetsu Aizen. You are responsible for protecting Shota. Shota, no matter what happens for a while, you are not allowed to come over without my permission. Matsumoto Rangaku. Let me kill monsters. Qian Ye issued a series of pre-war orders. After Matsumoto Rangaku heard Qian Ye's instructions, he immediately handed Shota to Katetsu Aizen. Sho, you must be obedient, otherwise, your sister Xiaowei will not be able to come back. Ms. Matsumoto, is this true? That Shinigami looks so fierce, he won't kill Xiaowei too. After listening to Matsumoto Rangaku's words, Shota was still a little worried and authentic. Shota, don't worry, our Shinigami is only hopeless. For your soul, we will not only not kill, but also protect. Katetsu Aizen also said quickly. That's right, Shota, that Shinigami, he is our captain, very powerful. You see, didn't he also let people stay here to protect you? Matsumoto Rangaku also spoke to Shota. 583, Matsumoto Rangaku saw Shangtai and nodded before he went to Qian Ye's side. Qian Ye brought Matsumoto Rangaku and came to the monster, and said to Matsumoto Rangaku, go and kill the monster first, and I will kill it. Yes, Captain. After Matsumoto Rangaku also responded, he rushed to the monster errand car. Ethereal Heineka. At this time, Matsumoto Rangaku came directly to Bankai. Following Matsumoto Rangaku's Bankai, the surrounding air also moved, forming a strong air current and attacking the monster. Roar, roar, roar. The monster-like Aaronkar actually made a roar. This was originally just a clone of Aaronkar, and of course Matsumoto Rangaku would give him a second kill. Roar, roar, roar. Just after the avatar Aaronkar was killed by Matsumoto Rangaku, there was another roar. And following the roar, it was on the side of Matsumoto Rangaku, and immediately appeared again, 4 or 5, and the same Aaronkar came. At this time, Matsumoto Rangaku was also surprised. YCDEJ is killing more and more. Although Matsumoto Rangaku was a little surprised, he didn't hesitate at all, and immediately rushed to the monster like Aaronkar. Similarly, these Aaronkars were killed by Matsumoto Rangaku with one move. Ho 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 ho. Then came the sound of this roaring hole again. Suddenly, around Matsumoto Rangaku, more than a dozen monsters, Aaronkar, appeared. At this time, Matsumoto Rangaku was also surprised. Oh my god, it's really a monster, how can you kill more and more? This made Matsumoto Rangaku hesitate, whether he wanted to continue to kill. And all this, of course, was expected by Qian Ye, watching very calmly. However, Qian Ye was not here to watch the play, to watch the monsters, to watch the battle of Matsumoto Rangaku. Qian Ye knew that this was Aizen's discarded product, imitating Aaronkar. Of course Qian Ye is looking for the body of this monster Aaronkar. The reason why Qian Ye asked Matsumoto Rangaku to fight against the clone of Aaronkar, he wanted to use this clone to find out the ontology of the cloned Aaronkar. Qian Ye's Reiatsu perception is very powerful. He is also using his Reiatsu to sense and track the imitation Aaronkar's body. Qian Ye was calm, but Katetsu Aizen, who was on the side, was not calm. Katetsu Aizen met Matsumoto Rangaku while fighting with that Aaronkar. But I saw those monsters Aaronkar, not only killed a lot, but also killed more and more. How can this be? Katetsu Aizen wanted to go and fight with Matsumoto Rangaku. But Captain Qian Ye's order, she also had to obey. Besides, this soul called Shota really needs someone to protect it. These Aaronkars are naturally the waste products that Aizen abandoned when they manufactured them. It's just that the current waste product has been upgraded. And it will generally only let the clone to fight and hunt. His body is hiding in the subspace. Ordinary people can't find it at all. Even if I don't come out of the body, even if you kill too much, its clone is useless. And its clone is not only endless, but also controlled by the body. It's like a loudspeaker. In this changed imitation of Aaronkar, the main body and the clone are connected by a wireless device. But the control right is completely controlled in the hands of the ontology. In other words, these clones are all controlled by the ontology. Of course, if you want to kill it completely, there is no way, that is, you have to find and behead the body first. And if you want to find the body, naturally you have to start with the clone. This is why Qian Ye didn't fight by himself, but let Matsumoto Rangaku fight. In the battlefield at this time, although Matsumoto Rangaku hesitated, he continued to kill these monsters, Aaronkar. Suddenly, Aaronkar, a monster standing in front of Matsumoto Rangaku, spoke. It's useless, not only can you kill me, but you can't kill me. Don't talk nonsense, I will kill as much as you can. Matsumoto Rangaku is also urinary, very unconvinced. Really? Then just kill it. See if you kill faster, or I increase faster. When the monster said this, just listen. Shubu ala ala ah. The grinning voice kept ringing around Matsumoto Rangaku. With the sound, I saw all around Matsumoto Rangaku, and many monsters Arankar appeared continuously and quickly. Oh my god, my boy. Seeing this situation, not only Matsumoto Rangaku in the battlefield was surprised. Even Katetsu Aizen, who was in the distance, saw this scene. He also stayed in place completely, at a loss. Finally caught you. At this time, Qian Ye finally showed a smirk. Matsumoto Rangaku. Go all out. However, in Qian Ye, Matsumoto Rangaku had just finished playing with all his strength. And prepared to make Matsumoto Rangaku, as the Akikoshi of Qian Ye's action. At this moment, an astonishing scene was suddenly discovered in the field. Arankar, the monster who was talking just now, suddenly turned into an extremely big one. I saw a little girl who also appeared, not only standing, not far from the monster Arankar, but also completely within its control range. Chapter 222, Brother and Sister Meet Forever. Imitation of Arankar ends. Advertise here. Xiao Wei. At this moment, Shota, who was protecting Katetsu Aizen, not only shouted loudly, but also ran towards the little girl. Katetsu Aizen was also surprised when he saw this, and a Shunpo quickly stopped Shota's way. Get out. I'm going to see my sister Xiao Wei. She is my sister Xiao Wei. My sister Xiao Wei is finally back. Last time I missed the food and let my sister Xiao Wei disappear. This time, no matter what, I won't lose it again, my sister Xiao Wei. As Shota said, he was about to start arrogantly. Katetsu Aizen. Let him pass. You go and stand with Matsumoto Rangaku, just protect Shota. But just at Katetsu Aizen, a little at a loss, and it was not possible to stop it, and when it was impossible to stop it, it would be impossible to see Qian Ye's voice coming. After listening to Qian Ye's order, Katetsu Aizen was also relieved. After Katetsu Aizen let go of Shota, Shota ran towards the little girl, Yui. And Katetsu Aizen, following Shota, came to Matsumoto Rangaku's side. Xiao Wei, is it really you? You came back, but you have troubled me. Xiao Wei, are you okay? It's all my fault, I shouldn't leave you here alone. Xiao Wei, brother will never again, I must save you this time. At this time, Shota ran to Xiao Wei's vicinity, stopped, and kept talking. Brother, I'm fine, I don't blame you. Brother, run, otherwise, this monster will eat you. Brother, run quickly, Xiao Wei will block the monster for you. However, Xiao Wei reminded and urged Shota. No, Xiao Wei, I will not run again this time, I must save you. Not only did Shanta not listen to Xiao Wei's words, but she spoke more firmly. Impossible, I clearly cut off this little girl's consciousness. How can she still be conscious? She is just my marionette. At this moment, the huge monster Arankar spoke very unbelievably. Haha, if this is the case, then I will eat you thoroughly. At this time, Qian Ye had already used his own perception, by imitating Arankar's clone, and found the one hiding in Yajian, imitating Arankar's body. Obviously, this somewhat huge monster, Arankar, is not an imitation of Arankar's body, but also just a clone. But the monster Arankar, while talking, shot his hand and grabbed Xiao Wei. Quick, you two take good care of Shota. It's too late to say, then soon. Qian Ye was also a reminder to the two daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen, while using Shunpo. It was in the hands of the monster Arankar, who was about to touch Xiao Weishi. Qian Ye cut it off with a single knife. The monster Arankar, who applied for the hand, took the lead to snatch Xiao Wei over the little girl. Damn it extremely. I want to eat you Shinigami. Want to come, eat you, I will become stronger. At the same time, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen are the two daughters. He also arrived in time, next to Shota, and protected Shota. Then, following the voice, Qian Ye also threw the Xiao Wei towards Matsumoto Rangaku. Of course, the current Xiao Wei is no longer a whole spirit, just a trace of consciousness still remains. Qian Ye was throwing Xiao Wei towards Matsumoto Rangaku. It just jumped up, using Ling Si and Shunpo at his feet to kill Shangya's face. Impossible. How did you find me? And just here there is no end to imitation of Arankar. There was a phoenix sound. The imitation Arankar was already cut in half by Qian Ye with a knife. As the black mist rose, the imitation of Arankar disappeared. Papa 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 papa. At this time, those monsters Arankar that appeared in the Central Park, also with the constant noise, quickly disappeared. And this imitation of Arankar was completely given to by Qian Ye and killed by a single blow. This mimics the Arankar, but also had to end. In fact, he should have ended long ago. As soon as Aizen gave up on reforming him, he should have ended. If it hadn't been for him to hide in the subspace and have undergone an abnormal change, he shouldn't have reappeared at all. Qian Ye was beheading, after imitating Arankar. And here comes the place where Matsumoto Rangaku and others. Team leader. The captain of Matsumoto Rangaku's voice, of course, also meant to ask Qian Ye. There is no doubt that Matsumoto Rangaku is asking Qian Ye what to do with Xiao Wei. Because the current Xiao Wei, although he was rescued, he is no longer a complete spirit, so naturally he can't go there. Soul Society got it. Matsumoto Rangaku, do you still have to ask me about this? You can do it yourself. I don't need to deal with these small things myself. Qian Ye used Shunpo to leave after speaking. After Qian Ye left, Katetsu Aizen just looked at it. Matsumoto Rangaku, Shota, and Xiao Wei left without saying a word, and followed Qian Ye. Matsumoto Rangaku saw Qian Ye and Katetsu Aizen, and after leaving one after another, he began to vomit again. Cut. It's as if you have taken care of all major events. Also, it seems that since Qian Ye became the captain of the 5th and 5th Division and Matsumoto Rangaku became his deputy captain. Qian Ye has hardly ever asked about the big or small matters of the 5th Division, let alone handled it himself. Naturally, Matsumoto Rangaku, the deputy captain, took care of all these matters. However, Matsumoto Rangaku also knows now that it is useless to say these nonsense. Right now, of course, it must be settled immediately. The matter between Shota and Xiao Wei's brother and sister is coming. Of course, as for the places where Shangtai-Yu and Xiao Wei go, they are actually raided. After Shota's soul was buried, he naturally went back to Soul Society. And Xiao Wei can't go to Soul Society, because although Xiao Wei doesn't retain some consciousness, she is no longer a complete spirit, and she can only go where she should go. Matsumoto Rangaku couldn't bear to say where Xiao Wei should go. Matsumoto Rangaku knew that not only could she not tell, but she would have to tell a white lie. So, Matsumoto Rangaku said to Shota, Shota, now your sister Xiao Wei has found it, I will take you to where you should go. However, Shota hurriedly stopped Matsumoto Rangaku, and asked, wait. What about my sister? Fan. Chapter 223, White Lie. Uncle Zangetsu reappears. Matsumoto Rangaku is also not busy, because she knew that Shota would definitely have some questions. Do you still have to ask? Your sister Xiao Wei, of course, is the same as you. If you want to go where she should go, you can't stay here anymore. Matsumoto Rangaku's words are both truthful and a little bit evasive. Ms. Matsumoto, then please give me my sister first. Then I will feel more at ease. Shota said. Shota, you are an elder brother, and of course you have to be like an elder brother, right? Matsumoto Rangaku said. Ms. Matsumoto, it's also because I am Xiao Wei's brother, I want it, watch first, you sent her away first. Shota said. You don't know anything about this. Anyone who has just been sent to Soul Society is called a newcomer in the 583. And the newcomers who have just arrived at Soul Society are not only very weak, and will not be bullied by those village bullies. This is also completely unavoidable, I don't think you don't want to, your sister Xiao Wei will be bullied again. Therefore, you have to go there first and wait there, so that Xiao Wei will not be bullied. At this moment, Xiao Wei also started talking. Brother, go ahead and wait for me. I'll be looking for brother in a while. In fact, Xiao Wei at this time also understood very well that it was impossible for her to go to the same place with his brother again. This is also because Xiao Wei didn't want her brother to know, nor did he want to make Shou too sad. Matsumoto Rangaku saw that Xiao Wei could say so, he knew it, and it seemed that Xiao Wei also knew some truth. So, Matsumoto asked while it was hot, Shota, are you ready? Okay, Miss Matsumoto, I'm ready, please send me there first. Xiao Wei, you have to hurry up, brother is waiting for you over there. Matsumoto Rangaku didn't hesitate anymore, so he used the blade of the new head sword and printed it on Shota's forehead. I saw that after a soul character appeared on Shota's forehead, it gradually disappeared. Thank you, Miss Matsumoto. Before Xiao Wei's words fell, Matsumoto Rangaku made the same action. However, Xiao Wei's forehead did not appear with the word soul. It was the door of two ghost heads, slowly opening. Xiao Wei smiled at Matsumoto Rangaku, waved a little hand, and walked into the gate of hell. After disappearing at the gate of hell, Matsumoto Rangaku was finally relieved. Shota, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie to you, and I couldn't do it, and I was powerless, where my duty lies. At this moment, Ulziola also made Hueco Mundo. However, Ulziola did not appear in this world, but also hid in the subspace. Therefore, Ulziola at that time discovered that Inoue Orihime at this time was not in Karakura town. No need to guess, Ulziola also knows that this Inoue Orihime must have been sent to Soul Society. Of course, Ulzio can also be very sure that not only Inoue Orihime, but also won't stay in Soul Society for too long. And even that Rukia Kuchiki, I am afraid it is the same, and will soon leave Soul Society and come to this world. Now, the two daughters of Rukia Kuchiki and Inoue Orihime will come to Karakura town from Soul Society. If you want to come to her, you should be together. Ulziola, thinking about coming at this time, is always happy for a while. This is great too, lest I have to run around and waste my hands and feet. When the two of them came to Karakura town from the Soul Society, through the gate through the boundary, I started in the boundary and took the two daughters away together. And all these changes, not only Kuchiki revealed that Kia and Inoue Orihime did not know, even Aizen also did not know. And the Shinigami of Soul Society's Jingalingting, don't even know. However, this matter is not completely unknown. In fact, Qian Ye knew that there would be such a time. It's just that he also relies on it, unable to speak out. And Qian Ye knew that even if he was willing to speak out, someone would have to believe in him. Since I said it, no one would believe it, so it's better not to say it. Lest others say that he is a lunatic, or even plotting wrongdoing. I'm afraid that when the truth comes out, others will say that he is Aizen's accomplice if they don't treat him as a monster. You know, even if Qian Ye tells them the truth, saying that he is a traverser, that will be believed by the ghost. Besides, even if Qian Ye is stupid, he is so stupid that he is uncomfortable for himself. And in the mountain behind the masked army base, the valley training ground. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo has officially entered the hollow stage. No, Kurosaki Ichigo is still in the training ground of the valley. However, the situation in front of him has completely changed. At this time, in the valley where Kurosaki Ichigo is, there are no less than tens of millions of new poker knives similar to Kurosaki Ichigo's Zanpakuto, densely inserted in the valley. Kurosaki Ichigo's hands are not only missing his Zanpakuto, and his whole body is dressed like his Zanpakuto, and his whole body is black. At this time, his uncle Zangetsu, who was dressed in white, holding a white Zanpakuto, was standing above Kurosaki Ichigo, looking at Kurosaki Ichigo slightly. This scene is completely the same as when Kurosaki Ichigo gets the sealed state, performs sword meditation, enters the sealed state space, liberates Shikai, and obtains the real name of Zanpakuto. And when Kurosaki Ichigo was looking around, his own black Zanpakuto. Uncle Zangetsu smiled and said, Kurosaki Ichigo. I said, you can't do it, you are too weak. You should give me the control of your body. Don't think about it, I will definitely defeat you. The control of my body will only belong to me, not to you. Kurosaki Ichigo is 4.9, pointing to Uncle Zangetsu, both angry and very firm. Kurosaki Ichigo, since you are going to fight, let's start. Why are you so shivering? You don't have to look for your Zanpakuto anymore. These Zanpakuto are neither your Zanpakuto, nor are they your new soul swords. At least until you fail to defeat me, you won't have any more, your own true Zanpakuto. Uncle Zangetsu was talking, showing a look of disdain for Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo at this time was also extremely angry. He took out a handful of black Zanpakuto from his side. Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Following the sound, Kurosaki Ichigo also jumped up and slashed towards Uncle Zangetsu. Chapter 224. Kurosaki Ichigo in a hard fight. Arankar strikes. Advertise here. Kurosaki Ichigo's offensive is very fierce, but Uncle Zangetsu is very relaxed and casual. Just when Kurosaki Ichigo's Zanpakuto saw that he was about to strike Uncle Zangetsu. At this time, Uncle Zangetsu did not back down, nor did he dodge half a minute. I saw Uncle Zangetsu, the white Zanpakuto, just a random wave. When? Just listen to the sound, and it's just the sound. The black Zanpakuto in Kurosaki Ichigo's hands was cut into two pieces by Uncle Zangetsu. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo was also surprised, obviously a little dazed. What? However, Kurosaki Ichigo was dumbfounded, but Uncle Zangetsu kicked it out. Puff. When Kurosaki Ichigo's exclamation sounded, it hadn't fallen yet. But there was a loud bang again, as did Kurosaki Ichigo, heavy on the ground, dust everywhere. Ouch. Immediately after that, 23 was Kurosaki Ichigo, who involuntarily made a cry of pain. Uncle Zangetsu at this time did not pursue him either, but stood still and looked at Kurosaki Ichigo with disdain. Just like all this, it's not what he did. And where he stood, he didn't move a bit. Even Uncle Zangetsu, the posture just now hasn't changed a bit. Abnormal. After Kurosaki Ichigo got up from the dust, he could only say this. And Kurosaki Ichigo, of course, wouldn't just let it go. I saw Kurosaki Ichigo, and then he drew a handful from the ground. The black Zanpakuto came. Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Following Kurosaki Ichigo's yell, he rushed towards Uncle Zangetsu again. However, this time Kurosaki Ichigo didn't rush straight, but slashed towards Uncle Zangetsu. Because Kurosaki Ichigo was prepared, he was a little surprised. Uncle Zangetsu was also moved this time. However, it just moved. When? There was another crisp sound of two knives colliding. Knife broken. The one that was still Kurosaki Ichigo, the black Zanpakuto, was split into two pieces by Uncle Zangetsu. This time, Kurosaki Ichigo, although not dazed, was kicked by Uncle Zangetsu. Obviously, this time Uncle Zangetsu's strength was heavier, and Kurosaki Ichigo flew farther. It was not until Kurosaki Ichigo hit a small dirt bag that there was a loud bang. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo, the whole person was trapped in a mountain of dirt. This time it was dusty and dusty. However, this time Kurosaki Ichigo neither screamed nor exclaimed in pain. And Kurosaki Ichigo, also after hitting the dirt mountain bag, quickly took advantage of the momentum to fly out, even the dust did not even take care of slapping. But he picked up a handful of black Zanpakuto. Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Kurosaki Ichigo was a little enthusiastic, and ran towards Uncle Zangetsu again. Not to mention now, the battle between Kurosaki Ichigo and Uncle Zangetsu was in Hueco Mundo. Of course, things still have to start with Ulziola and Yami, from performing investigation missions in this world and returning to Hueco Mundo. In Ulziola, while reporting to Aizen, Yami had some disputes with Grimmjow. For Ulziola and Yami, not only did they fail to kill Kurosaki Ichigo. Instead, Kurosaki Ichigo and the others beheaded an Arrancar who followed. This makes Grimmjow of course very convincing. Although what Ulziola said, Kurosaki Ichigo and others are all rubbish, not worthy of their killing. Yami also said that it was Ulziola who stopped him, and he failed to kill Kurosaki Ichigo and others. However, for all this, Grimmjow believes that this is not the case. Kurosaki Ichigo and others are not like Ulziola and Yami, they are really so wasteful and vulnerable. Even so, Grimmjow thought that Kurosaki Ichigo and others would still be a major threat to them in the decisive battle in the future. Since it is a big threat, of course it is, and it is better to eliminate it as soon as possible, and put the lasting trouble as the top priority. Moreover, Grimmjow at that time also felt that he had been ignored by Aizen. This bad breath, Grimmjow, was not only very dissatisfied, but he had to give it out. Because Grimmjow, I feel that he is much better than both Ulziola and Yami. Therefore, Grimmjow decided to bring a few Arrancars to the world by himself. First kill Kurosaki Ichigo and others, and give Aizen a cut first and then play. In this way, he proved himself better than Ulziola and Yami. As a result, Aizen will be admired, and will even be reused for him, trusting him. This is also his Grimmjow, the best opportunity to perform in front of Aizen. For such a good opportunity, Grimmjow certainly will not give up, and we must seize this God-given opportunity. Since Ulziola and Yami, without this strength and ability, can kill Kurosaki Ichigo and the others, let me Grimmjow, come on. So, Grimmjow found it, with a few of the same ideas, the same mind, and the same desire to express his own Arrancar. After hearing Grimmjow's words, these Arrancars didn't use Grimmjow's words. This Arrancar agreed very much, and went to this world with Grimmjow. Kill all Kurosaki Ichigo to show their 583, their strength and power. At this time, Ulziola, because he took over Aizen, and gave him the plan. She hadn't been in Hueco Mundo long ago and hid secretly. And Grimmjow also quickly took the 5 Arrancars, directly tore through the space and went to this world. Just when Grimmjow tore a black seam from the black cavity. In the present Karakura town. Whether in the eastern half, Hitsugaya Toshiro, Hira, Abarai Renji, or in the western half, Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Azane. They were all at the same time, and suddenly felt a very powerful sense of oppression from the air. That is, almost at the same time, they exclaimed in unison. They are also at the same time, looking to the sky. But in the sky at this time, a black seam suddenly appeared, and it was getting bigger and longer, just like being torn apart. As the black seam grew bigger and bigger, his hands were exposed first. Look, it's coming out. Then, the black seam really expanded, and only one person appeared from the black seam. It's Arrancar. Someone recognized it and screamed. As the black seam continued to expand, Grimmjow was already very clearly standing in the black seam. And behind him followed, 5 other Arrancars came. Chapter 225. Discover a new goal. Arrancar's excitement. Advertise here. However, Grimmjow did not act in a hurry, but looked to the present Soramaki castle. And searching, they came to live Karakura town this time, and the target they were looking for, Kurosaki Ichigo came. It's just that Grimmjow, as well as the 5 Arrancars behind him, are a bit disappointed. This paid them, but they could not find the goal they wanted. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo, Sato Yasutora, and Ishida Ryu were conducting intensive training at the base of the original Masked Corps. As for the entire Masked Legion base, due to the enchantment and protective formation that Hachigan deployed, all exploration has been isolated. Unless it is like Qian Ye's existence, I will see why. Of course, such as Aizen, Yamamoto Ryusai Shigekuni, will also see some clues. And everything in Urahara Kazuki's shop, Grimmjow is the same, and nothing is unusual. As for Qian Ye, even the captains of Aizen and Yamamoto couldn't perceive his Reiatsu coming, and Grimmjow couldn't perceive it even more. Grimmjow searched the entire Soramaki castle. Although they did not find Kurosaki Ichigo and the 4 of them, they did find Hitsugaya Toshiro. So, Grimmjow said to the 5 Arrancars behind him, although we haven't found the target we are looking for, there are 5 people below who are not weak. These 5 Reiatsu are not weak. I think it must be since the last time Ulziola and Yami came to the real Karakura town and attracted the attention of Soul Society. So I sent these 5 Shinigami to come to Karakura town to become Shinigami guardians. Hey. Then we will kill the 5 Shinigami of Soul Society and suck their souls. Hey, it's delicious thinking about it. I haven't smoked it for a long time, Shinigami's dead son, it's really exciting. Don't be anxious, we haven't found the target person we are looking for. Grimmjow, who was standing in front, was also a little excited, but he still mentioned the business of their coming to Karakura town this time. Grimmjow, or else, you stay and continue searching first, let's go down and kill all the 5 Shinigami. Otherwise, we won't get in the way when we kill the target person for a while. Standing on the left side of Grimmjow and 0 to 16 Arrancar, D-Roy was there, and he said after a burst of laughter. Hey. Just after N0 to 16 Arrancar D. Roy finished talking, the other Arrancars did the same, and they made a burst of weird laughs. As for Grimmjow, he felt that D. Roy was right, and there should be no hidden dangers. You have to kill these Shinigami first. Anyway, they are also eager, this time they can kill more, Soul Society's Shinigami. Of course, for these Shinigami's soulmates, Grimmjow, they had no choice but to come with 5 Arrancars. However, this also happens to be 5 Shinigami, 5 Arrancar, 1-on-1. Grimmjow, however, decided that he would wait for the same opportunity first. Besides, he has to continue to look for Kurosaki Ichigo. Therefore, Grimm was very decisive, and directly, first with his left hand, pointed at the western half of Soramaki Castle. Said to Xiaolong and Ilbert, Xiaolong, Ilbert, there are 2 Shinigami to the west, you two go down, one by one, and kill him for me. On the left-hand side of Grimmjow is the western half of Soramaki Castle. This is where the 2 deputy captains of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen are now. After Grimmjow's words were finished, only 2 figures were seen, but they were swept towards the 2 daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen in the western half. Seeing Grimmjow, Xiaolong and Ilbert, 2 Arrancars, flew to the western half, and then used their right hand to point to the eastern half of Karakura town. Then he said to the remaining 3 Arrancars, there are 3 Shinigami here, you 3 should go too. At Grimmjow's orders, the remaining 3 Arrancars also swept eastward one after another. In the eastern half of Karakura town, this naturally means that the 3 of Hitsugaya Toshiro, Kira Iziru, and Abarai Renji will come. At this time, Hitsugaya Toshiro saw that there were already 3 Arrancars and rushed to them. Naturally, he also knew that the targets of these Arrancars were the 3 of them. Therefore, Hitsugaya Toshiro and the 3 of them are in the downtown area. In order not to affect the civilians in Karakura town, Hitsugaya Toshiro was right. Kira and Asan and Renji said, go, let's go to the mountains to fight. At this time, Grimmjow still did not move, because he was still looking for Kurosaki Ichigo and others, and they were also sensing that the strongest of these Shinigami came. Because Grimmjow thinks that only the strongest is worthy of him to kill. As for those that are too weak, they are not worthy of him. At the same time, Qian Ye quickly came to the side of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen. Captain Qian Ye, are these all Arrancars? Matsumoto Rangaku asked. What, are you scared? Qian Ye asked with a smile. Captain Qian Ye, we were the ones who killed these Arrancars. Of course we were not afraid, but we were a little excited. Matsumoto Rangaku said with a smile. Then I can tell you that the Arrancar that appeared this time is not an ordinary Arrancar. Among them, not only Aizen's former Espada, but also the seed Arrancar when Aizen picked the former Espada. Even if they weren't Espada, they wouldn't be much worse. In their words, they have already surpassed 10. Li Qian is good. Qian Ye reminded that the 2 daughters of Matsumoto Rangaku and Katetsu Aizen were coming. Captain Qian Ye, what to do then? Aizen's former Espada, if we fight alone, we will definitely not be able to fight. Hu Che Hyan said truthfully. Since you can't fight alone, can't you just come here for 2 fights in one? However, Qian Ye said with a smile. There should be no problem. Matsumoto Rangaku also smiled. Matsumoto Rangaku, don't blame me for not reminding you. Being too self-confident is not a good thing. Be careful of overturning the boat in the gutter. Qian Ye reminded Qifeng again. Captain Qian Ye, are these Arrancars so powerful? Katetsu Aizen asked with some disbelief. If you are strong or not, you will know when you hand it over. However, you two must be more careful when that happens. It is best to fight together and try not to fight alone.